never have you had such an opportunity that you can just press plus button on your phone and you can potentially get 1 million people to see it. Can you imagine going back like 50 years? Anything you give us, we'll just put it in the paper. How much is it? I'll just do it for free. What paper? A goal goes in all of them. Does it have to be good? Nah. But if it is good, you'll get loads of sales. Many users? Oh yeah, billions. I was like, you guys are going to spend the next 10 years developing your business in this room. I'm going to go do it online. People in content can create a dinner table genius. And the dinner table genius is where someone's going to say something at the dinner table that isn't true. Don't have too many Coke Zeros, James. It'll give you cancer. But Tracy, aspartame is what you're talking about, right? And you should be worried about aspartame if you're a fucking rat. But are you a rat? No, didn't think so. Don't talk to me about Coke Zero again. All right. If you watch a TED Talk, you get bored. If you watch stand-up, you feel unproductive. If you can intertwine humor into what you do, you don't even realize there's a perfect symphony of education and entertainment put together. Oh, you want to spend money on a billboard? Idiot. People are looking down, bro. They're on their phone. If you want to get in front of people, don't put a plane in the sky pulling your name across. Get it on a phone. Everyone seems to think that confidence is a precursor to action, but it's inverse. When they come into the realm of content creation, I kind of just want to say to people like, oh, just be shit for 2 years. But they don't want to hear that.
What's the difference between giving people knowledge and then giving them power?
I would like to apologize to my fiance for what I'm about to say.
This episode is brought to you by Wix Studio. Here at the Agency Podcast, we're building a community and we would love for you guys to be a part of it. So we would love to hear from you. What are you enjoying the most? What would you like to see more of? And what do you think might be missing? Drop a comment. Make sure you subscribe. And now, on with the show. James Smith, welcome to the Agency Podcast. Excited to have you here, man.
I'll say what everyone says in a podcast. Thank you very much for having me.
Man, I would say by far on the internet, the person that has the best hot takes, I think, in my opinion, is yourself. I've been watching, observing, and I'm enjoying it. And I think, having, I guess, grown up as a kid that loves punk rock, skating, all those kind of things, I like anyone that has any proclivity to kind of talk against like the common zeitgeist, and I'm just a huge fan, dude. Appreciate you being here.
There was always, thank you very much. There was always a part of me that thought I had to be professional online, and then there was the version of me that exists with my friends. And I never really thought that bringing out that side of me that existed with my friends on social media would do better. And I'll never forget, as a personal trainer in a gym, I would go into the PT room and I would try and make content on things I thought were relevant, like, oh, Snickers just made a protein bar, let's talk about it. I remember one day I was genuinely pissed off, and the version of me that's with my friends came out, and that video just did better. And I was like, oh, hold on a minute. I can actually be the version of myself in real life online, and it will perform better. And ever since then, it's been almost doubling probably an A-B split test that I just kept doubling down on. I would even say maybe in real life, I'm actually a bit more chilled, but that part of me that's always like, well, that's stupid. It's always been there. You know, even I was saying before, I had a member of staff whose girlfriend lived in another country, and I was like, I didn't even know the guy. I'm like, she's cheating on you. Why would I say that to someone? Because it's exactly what I'd say to my friends. So there's always that version of me online is the exact same version that I am offline. Can
you tell the story real quick? Because I thought it was interesting how you kind of mentioned what someone said, and then you were like, immediately I know.
Yeah. So he was thinking of moving overseas to Australia. His girlfriend worked in France, and she worked in an environment where she would be surrounded by probably high status men. And I was like, what's the famous saying that if you hear hooves outside, it could be a zebra, but it's probably a horse. So yeah, bro, sure, she's staying loyal. She's not interested in other dudes, but chances are she's getting filled in that ski chalet, bro. So, and I said that to him from a place of respect, like the bro stance.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, there's every chance your girlfriend, young, naive, all of those things. Now, I didn't have to tell him that, but I actually felt I'd be doing him a disservice not telling him, because even if I'm incorrect, he can prod assess the situation. He can maybe do a little bit of a stress test on it, and it might work out better. If anything, that could strengthen their relationship.
What I love what you're saying here is, that might sound flagrant or offensive or abrasive, but when two guys are hanging out talking as friends, they will talk this way. And I think you're inviting people in essentially by talking like this.
You might agree with me with this as well. Also, like, imagine someone says, hey mate, here's my landing page. How does it look? The best. I will be the biggest arsehole in the world if I say to you, yeah, it looks good. That is the biggest disservice I could do to you, Instead, I go, bro, this has to be the worst landing page I've ever seen in my fucking life. This is abhorrent. You're above the fold, makes me want to quit my job. You know, I have like a Discord of people that I help. If I see a really bad like landing page or some bad copy, I'll say, I cannot believe you pulled me away from my child to read this, because I need that emotive pain there. You know, sometimes you need to give people that. If you don't give them enough, if you don't give them enough to think about or enough to do or enough to action, you don't get the emotive response that they need to change.
When you're talking to someone about maybe an issue they have with their business, like what is that you're trying to identify, and how can you use pain to your advantage?
The number one place that I first spotted this was my first ever PT client was a chiropractor. And I got to experience one of the most beautiful sales cycles ever. So I went to the chiropractor because I had a bad back. And every person that goes in the chiropractor has a bad back. No one goes there for a checkup. You know, no one just turns up going, hey, can you check out my vertebrae? So straight away, the second you walk in, they're like, we got you. So you go in, and it's not just enough to say, I've got a bad back. They go, let's do an x-ray. And they get the x-ray, and they come out and they go, it's going to be $100 for the x-ray, by the way, just to let you know. And then they put it up and they go, oh, see this? That's a bit of a L3 degeneration, those discs, a little bit close together. Probably how old are you? What, 36? Oh, this looks more like the disc degeneration of a 55-year-old man. They just depress you vertebrae by vertebrae. And then afterwards they go, but there is a remedy. Come see me twice a week for an adjustment. But the level of pain, they don't just tell you, they show you. And you already have the pain. You're in there with a bad back. But they try and make it seem out to be so much worse. And then just before you think I'm going to be in a wheelchair for the rest of my life, here's the solution. They have to be some of the best salespeople ever. Then they get you pain-free, or they serve to you, whatever. But the thing you say there is so true in fitness. Again, I learned almost everything about sales and marketing from being a PT, because the job is shit for a start, and you're selling things that they can do themselves, but there is pain in there. And people come in and they go, I want to lose a bit of weight. And I'm like, nah, keep coming. They're like, no, I just want to lose a few pounds. I'm like, no, you don't. Then they're like, oh yeah, my boyfriend just dumped me. Or my buttons popped off in my jeans in a meeting, went firing across the boardroom. Most embarrassing moment of my life. I'm like, there we are.
Yeah.
So people, there's always, because I go, look, you're not just going to message a personal trainer out the blue. You're not coming here for a checkup. Something in your life happened to where you woke up and you're like, I need to contact someone.
When you think about the internet and how you made content as a PT and essentially started to build a career for yourself, what were you observing behaviorally from everyone around you? And then, as you said before, the moment you realized where being honest was more interesting than trying to play a role, if you will. So if I tighten my question up, it's like, what did you observe at that point in time when you first started making content as a PT? And then when did you really decide to lean in to being honest?
So there's a term we call it now, which we call Lad Bible James. So I'll message my manager. We were saying before offline, he's like my older brother. Been working with him for nearly 10 years, and he speaks on my behalf anywhere. He actually has all my money. So he gives me what I'm allowed to spend. And I lost my card to this bank account ages ago. So if he's sifting money from me, he's doing a great job. So
hopefully not.
I'll ask him, what version of James do I need to be for this interview? And if he says Lad Bible James, that's fucking this, fucking that, fuck this. Like, there's different versions of James that he wants. And Lad Bible James came out a little bit at the beginning. But one of the best observations I had was I grew my Facebook to about 3,000 followers, which I thought was big, by the way, when I first got to Australia. So yeah, I've got a following, bigger than my rugby club at home. And I went into fitness first. I was in Bond Street. And the real defining moment was a personal trainer came up to me with a clipboard, and he tried getting my email address. And this is very beginning of 2017. So what are you doing? He's like, oh, we're getting email addresses. I was like, bro, it's 12:15 on a Monday. And you could just see people moving really fast, pretending you don't exist. I was like, mate, this is the only hour of someone's day that they have to come in here and train. The gym's already busy. They're probably going to be queuing for equipment. This could not be a worse time to get someone's email address. And I said to him, why don't you just run like a Facebook ad? And there was nothing there behind the personal trainer's eyes. He had no idea. To him, it was just the clipboard. And I thought, oh. And I sat back and I looked at the gym. And in Australia, you have some of the most handsome, chiseled, good-looking men that know so much about fitness and training. Even, dare I say it, Australian men have an art of having tattoos that look good. In the UK, you've got like bald guys invest with tribal tattoos. It looks awful. But even in Australia, they've got like nice sleeves and good patterns and stuff. And I was like, but to all of you, your world of this career and profession exists within these four walls. There's nothing outside. to the personal trainers that were there, they had reception, they had the change rooms, they had the gym. There was nothing outside wider than that. So it was understanding that there was going to be a version of me that I could put online that would get a bit of traction. But that interaction in Bond Street on that day, I was like, you guys are going to spend the next 10 years developing your business in this room. I'm going to go do it online. Because actually I was like, because you guys aren't. You guys are my most fierce competitors. And if I come here on the gym floor, I'm probably going to lose. I'm a chubbier, worse looking version of you guys. And I'm not even that good at sport. But online, if I've got I used to joke and say online PTs from the chest up. You've got a good set of shoulders, you're fine. No one's going to find you out for years. So I was like looking to a place that I could beat those people. And now I'm a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. And basically, if there's someone with better, accolades or someone who's got a better game than me in a certain place, I'll never match them there. If I go to America and I can tell someone wrestles, I'm going to drop on my butt and scoot. If I can tell that someone's got a really good leg lock game, I'm not going to put my feet anywhere near him. In business and everywhere, you need to assess and understand, where is this person strong? Where are they going to succeed? Where can I go to beat them? Because I'm not going to go match them where they're strongest. And that was probably the very beginning of my career going online.
So realizing that your competition essentially weren't realizing the gap of what could be possible online, and then they were fixating on the four walls. And I saw this a lot. I remember being responsible for about 16 PTs, and they would come to me and they would say, give me more leads. And I would say to them, like, what else are you doing outside of me handing you phone numbers and emails? And they would look at you like, what are you talking about? So I've had that experience, and it is frustrating. I think when you started making content online, you were essentially calling out a lot of BS as well. So help me understand, when you looked at the internet, you kind of saw a landscape of lies, if you will. When you come across the content creators then and the content creators now, have you seen the same kind of game being played, or are you witnessing a change or an evolution of it?
So the interesting thing is here, now in reflection, looking back, I couldn't talk about muscle growth because I wasn't that muscular. I couldn't talk about fat loss because I wasn't that lean. So when you look at the fitness landscape, again, if I talk about muscle growth, I'm going to lose to all the dudes on steroids. If I talk about fat loss, I'm going to lose to all the dudes with good genetics. So I needed to find, where can I talk and be an authority in this space without having to compete with those people? And again, I would look at a lot of my competitors and they were very good at educating, but they were fucking boring. And again, everything makes sense in hindsight. Even Logan Paul and KSI, to get attention, they would fight. There is nothing more attention seeking to people than conflicts between two people. Then even if you think about it, a takedown or a video calling out BS is like a one-sided rap battle. So you can do everything. They can respond, but it's almost one of the most beautiful setups to make content because you can structure it exactly how you want in any way you like. And the kind of common enemy for me being in that industry was, I was overweight when I grew up. I didn't really get into sport until later. And this sounds really dumb to say it. When I was like 11, I'd go up to the canteen ladies and be like, which of these foods are fattening? I thought they were foods making me fat. It never occurred to me that it was the volume of the amount of food, or it was the amount versus how much. It never occurred to me. Even at like 20 years old, I remember doing like a workout with my friend, and then 2 for Tuesdays, Domino's Pizza, having a pizza at night. Never occurred to me. It was purely a fact of needing to eat less. There was a workout back in the day called Insanity. You ever heard of it?
No.
There's this guy called Sean T. Dig deeper. And they're like doing high knees and mountain climbers. And I was sweating all over my front floor in the front room. And I was thinking to myself, I'm going to get jacked. I'm going to get so lean. I'm going to get into all of this. Even as a 20-year-old, which is 2010, I was getting misled to all of these different things. It never occurred to me that I just needed to pull back on my calories. So when I got to the fitness industry and started to understand all this, I felt like a fucking dickhead. I was like, you kidding me? I could have just tracked my calories. Surely not. This is too simple. So there was a chip on my shoulder from all of those years of not knowing what I was doing. So the persona I was taking online wasn't just calling out BS. It was being the person that I really could have done with 10 years before. And then I think to myself, I was never that great at rugby anyway, but I thought I could have been better if I'd have known this, or I could have been fitter, or I could have looked better, I could have had hotter girlfriends, all the things that were important at a 20-year-old, if I'd only have had this information. So it was half being a person I really could have done with in that period before, but the other half was knowing that people were taking advantage of even people like myself. If someone had said to me, hey mate, we've got this high intensity interval training workout here, you're just going to get fitter and sweat in your front room. It's not really going to help you get in better shape. I told them to fuck off. But because I was led to believe from the marketing and everything about it, I thought I was going to end up like the shredded black guy on the cover. So for me, there was definitely a chip on the shoulder for a missed opportunity, similar to, I'm sure, in like get rich schemes, where you might have bought into some things in the early days, pre-Gary V. People say, oh, you just do this drop shipping, you're going to make so much money. Then by the end of it, you go on a quest to tell people not to do drop shipping because you wasted your energy, time, money. It's one of those for me that I kind of, wanted to prevent people from going down the path that I did.
If you want to grow your agency, you need more than just a website builder. You need Wix Studio, the all-in-one platform that's built to help you scale. Designed smarter in a hyper-flexible, responsive editor, cherry-picking whatever clients need from pre-built UI elements and templates. Deliver robust backends with built-in e-commerce solutions for every industry, letting self-maintaining infrastructure just run itself. Stop reinventing the wheel with every project and instead create a shareable design system with reusable assets, apps, and components. Clients growing too fast? No sweat. Wix Studio AI-powered CMS lets you turn a single layout into hundreds of additional dynamic pages. It's true, more clients no longer has to mean more chaos. Wix Studio gives you one centralized view of every project and makes real-time collaborations seamless. Do your agency's best work at scale. Build your next project on Wix Studio. Why do people, I guess, prefer the illusion of this person can help me versus the reality of what they might be missing in their business?
I think it goes back quite a long time. So I can imagine, let's say, 1,000 years ago, someone suffering with leprosy, some guy would have come along and go, oh, I've got something. Oh, there's some dandelion extract in here. You just take that, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Take the coins, disappears.
Yeah.
So I think it's as old as time. People, when they really want something, are quite susceptible to anyone that can come across confident. One of the big things, probably in fitness as well, is there's this massive lottery of genetics. And have you heard of the swimmer's body illusion?
No. And also, what do you mean by the lottery as well?
Some win, some don't.
Yeah.
You're 6'4", right?
Yes.
What's that, top 1%?
True.
I think only 4% of men are over 6 foot.
I didn't know that.
I think only 6% of the world are blonde or have blue eyes, something crazy. So some of the traits that people have, they massively overestimate. So in some respects, for height, for athleticism, for sexual attraction, for opportunity for mates, you won the lottery. So sorry to all the dudes that are, there's, Adam Sullivan, EBT?
Yes.
He's in the valley of death between 5'10" and 6 foot.
Yeah.
So if you notice, I love Adam, one of my good friends, none of his trainers are flat. They've all got a slight bit of sponge on the heel. So
Interesting.
We can get up to 5'11" and a half.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the genetic lottery, some people don't have to work very hard to be in incredible shape.
Yeah.
And they're the people that end up moving towards that industry. So swimmer's body illusion, let's say there's someone out there not in great shape, wants to improve their situation, can do it, whatever. So they go, okay, I might become a runner. And then he looks at runners and he goes, they look a bit skinny and they look a bit miserable. I'm not going to do that. They go, I'm going to start bodybuilding. And then looks at bodybuilders and goes, oh, they look a bit too muscular and they look a bit stupid. And then he's looking around at physiques thinking, what can I be? And he sees a swimmer. He goes, perfect. So he starts swimming, 2-3 months into swimming, realizes it's a fallacy. It's all an illusion. Swimmers don't look the way they do because they swim. They swim because of the way they look. So we might think men are big and broad because they play rugby, but they're not. They play rugby because they're big and broad. So your physical attributes are much more inclined to the outcome of what you do versus anything else. The Burgess brothers, 4 of them weigh 460 kilograms combined. It is their size that when those Burgess brothers ended up playing rugby at school, they knocked over all the people they ran into. Those people are going to love the sport. They go, yeah, mate, rugby league, bloody great. Whereas people that are 5 foot and relatively underdeveloped are going to get knocked down and hate it. So your physical attributes are a massive component of whether or not you're going to enjoy something. So again, we've got all kinds of different spectrums, ability to grow muscle, metabolism, height, frame, even your shoulder to waist ratio, the fact you're going to go bald or not, all of these genetic variations between. some people have to win the genetic lottery where they get all of those things. Then they get to 18, 20, start going to the gym, start looking good, can eat what they want, in great shape. And even if this was a fraction of a percentage of the population, you would still have more people to follow on social media than you could follow on an Instagram account. There'd be thousands. So suddenly their friends say to them, you should become a fitness coach or you should become a fitness influencer. Why? Because you care about people, you're a good coach, you're empathetic? No, because you look like one. So no one would ever say to you, hey, bro, you should become an entrepreneur. Why? Because you look like an entrepreneur. You know, it's just, it wouldn't happen. And then you realize that the majority of these people, these blithering idiots in the fitness industry, I don't blame them. They're saying things because they look a certain way. They become an authority on it. And if they are an intermittent fasting guru or they're low carb or whatever, they can get away with it because of their genetics. And we need to come along and go, hey, bro, you are a great looking specimen with fantastic genetics, but what you're saying just isn't true. And if Dave over here tries following your advice, he's not going to get anywhere. So we need to make sure we give people kind of evidence-based practices. And the one thing here is we've started off quite fitness heavy. And some people might go, I thought personal brand, but it's all the same. Because just because one person had one business that sold and IPO'd, that doesn't mean they know a lot about business. It means they know a lot about one business. That's why you can't stagger people just in who made the most money.
Right.
The person that's grown 5 businesses, okay, we're getting somewhere. The person that's had 10 businesses, we're getting somewhere. Someone like Toby Pierce, who has everything he touches seems to benefit massively in clients. You go, Toby Pierce, you're a weapon, mate. You're good. So it's one of those things that people, just because one person has got like genetics, we can't believe what they say. Same way, if someone has one good business, we can't just believe what they say. There are going to be outliers and everything. And some people, just because it's worked for them, they seem to see that as being true. So fitness and business.
Yeah. So like, we see a lot of people that are, Forbes 30 under 30, or I did an exit at X, or what have you. These kind of one-time, one-hit wonders, if you will, could be potentially a threat to people that would buy into them too quickly. Yeah. So would you say that who's potentially lying more? Would it be creators lying to their audiences or audiences potentially lying to themselves?
It's a really difficult one because there are some creators that I see where I know they're just naive. They've never really looked into it that much. But then there are others that are definitely Machiavellian. Then from an audience standpoint, there also can be audience capture where some people become the person they need to be for their audience. Eddie Abu, did you ever see him?
Yeah.
So if you go back, and I was saying to you before, I went back to your oldest podcast episodes and watched you eat shit for quite a lot of episodes. And for me, I love that because I see that as brilliant. Perfect.
No one does that, man. I love that.
No. Gotta do my homework. Statism. And so Eddie Abu, me and him used to butt heads because he used to make claims. He used to speak in absolutes. And absolutes, again, are one of those things that actually I would accept them more in business. If someone goes, email marketing is the best thing for your business, I'd be like, I can get on with that. But when people go, you need to eat eggs to be healthy, I'm like, whoa. That's a bit of an absolute. But if you go to Eddie Abu's earlier stuff back in the day, he was quite rational and he was pretty spot on. But then as he started saying crazier and crazier things and started screaming at a bag of potatoes in the shopping center and in the aisle, you realize that he's taking that feedback and becoming who the audience want, not who the audience needs. And that audience capture can be a big thing. But it's always difficult to determine, whether or not they're being evil or whether or not they're just stupid.
Right. If you think about that feedback loop, though, like if someone's doing something and they're getting the immediate reward for, okay, the audience are responding to this, the algorithm's going great, I'm getting more paychecks and more sponsorship because of this, then would it mean that the Machiavellian part of you is just leaning into what tends to generate revenue versus what is actually in service of the audience?
So one interesting thing here is that I've found out over the last few years that I'm definitely a dopamine junkie.
You and me both.
No shadow of a doubt. So I did an assessment for ADHD, but I'm not sure. There's definitely something up there, something neurodivergent. I joke and say it's because I was adopted. There's just some wiring that's a bit fucked up there. Maybe I didn't get loved enough as a child, so I need social media like, dopamine. Oh, people like me. And so that dopamine side of me has definitely hijacked a few, because the things I'm talking about, I've been susceptible to myself. And one of which was getting caught up in vanity metrics on social media. So when I got to about 600,000 on Insta, in my head, I was like, well, we've got to get to 1 million now. And first thing out there for any aspiring content creators, the day you hit 1 million followers, is the most underwhelming. I've done it 3 times. It's the most underwhelming thing ever. Even, I'm sure, the day you got your silver play button on YouTube, you're like, this is fucking amazing. Then a month later, you're like, oh, is that it? For the million, my missus got me balloons and sat in the kitchen. And if anything, I think I was in a worse mood than usual because I realized I was just working towards a vanity metric for dopamine, and the dopamine was very short-lived. I think I was happier at 999 than I was at 1 million. And so I became I got audience captured. I became more obsessed with going viral than I did with doing my job. Because when I started as a personal trainer, I said, I'm going to use social media as a vessel to get clients. And I actually got lost instead and started growing my social accounts because, you know, I could go finish there and go, oh, well, I grew 3,000 followers this week. You know, in The Big Short, where they're talking about the subprime mortgages.
Yeah.
I did that with the social media following. Imagine this, the swimmer's body illusion I spoke about before.
Yeah.
My most viewed video on TikTok, 25 million views, 1 million followers from one video. And if I show you my Stripe account, you couldn't fucking tell. What? Do you know how many people in the world have grown by 1 million followers and you cannot see it in their Stripe account? Not even like a little blip, nothing. So I've done it. I've become audience captured. That's why I saw it so early on with Eddie Abu. I was like, bro, I've been where you are. And it's even the last few years. On my Instagram now, I joked about it before. I'm losing followers some months, maybe like 10,000 or whatever. But it's some of the subprime are leaving. And I've never been more successful in business. And I actually couldn't tell you how many followers I lost because I haven't looked in over a year. It took me a while to actually realign my values to be with, right, okay, what's actually important for me? It's clients, it's new business, it's leads, it's all of these things. But yeah, I spent maybe 2 years just trying to grow my audience. And I couldn't tell you what for apart from dopamine. At the end of the day, and I even see my friends falling into this now, I'm kind of saying to people, and it sounds a bit shallow, I'm like, if it doesn't show up in your Stripe account, I don't care. And I say that to, be happy when your email list grows, be happy when your click-through conversions go up. But until there's money in the bank, again, Newtonic, absolutely love what we're doing. People go, oh, bro, you're killing it. I go, no, we're not. There's no money. I'm actually minus hundreds of thousands of dollars with this investment. They go, oh, but you're valued at 20 million. I'm like, stop. Unless it's in the bank account, unless we've won, that to me is winning. So when people are out there and they might be going, cool, I've grown my following. I'm like, I respect that. But it's like getting a submission at training. Unless you go to competition and you sub someone of your equal ability and weight, it doesn't count because that dude might not have even been trying that hard. He might have not slept last night. He might be on shift work as a firefighter. He might have just been playing a position and let you take his back. Unless you get it where it matters, what's the point? The vanity metrics don't pay the bills. You can't go on Emirates and, sit there and go, oh, can I get an upgrade? I've got 1 million followers. They don't give a fuck. No one does. So I wish maybe I'd just had someone, and again, the reason I say this now is I really could have done with someone saying that before. And again, Adam Sullivan schooled me with this. He's like, got half your following, but I got fucking so much more money than you can. Like, I was like, yeah, do you know what? He's actually someone, so I had Adam blocked for a few years because I thought he was a prick. And I actually thought some of our videos were a little bit too similar. And a couple of years later, I unblocked him. I was like, sorry, mate, that's on me. I've obviously got some kind of insecurity. I actually said to him, I'm seeing you do better than me and I'm insecure about it, but now I'm fine about it, whatever. And when I met him in real life, I thought he was going to be a prick. And he's actually that guy in real life. Have you met him?
No.
I'll get him down here. I'll tell him, I'll say, oh, come do the pod. He'll get nervous. He gets nervous for podcasts.
I'd love to meet him.
Yeah, but
I've been following him for a while.
I thought that energy that he had was just online. I thought he was just a persona. When there's no cameras about, I'll never forget. And this has gassed me to make more money. We're in a restaurant and actually I was a bit hungover. I said to him, let's go for a swim in the sea. He goes, yeah, cool. Let's go for a swim in the sea. Get in his car. He drives us to a restaurant, order some margaritas. Thought we're going for a swim in the sea. He's like, nah. He's like, I don't swim in the sea. We have about 10 margaritas and we need to go because we've got an event to go to. And he turns to the waitress and goes, how big a tip do you want? She goes, excuse me? He goes, pick your tip. Anything, I'll pay it. It was me that was paying it, but he was negotiating it. She goes, $50. He slams his hand on the table. Not enough. She goes, $100. He gets annoyed. Not enough. She was like, $400. He was like, fine. And he goes, I would have paid you anything. And he meant it. He meant it. In his eyes, he was like, having fun with that waitress. He was like, I would have given her any tip. That night, he tipped the taxi driver $1,000 to go from Broad Beach to Broad Beach. We didn't even leave the area. Just tipped the guy $1,000. No cameras. No, there was none of this. Put this on your story, bro. He just did it. And I was like, do you know what? I would consider myself entrepreneurial, but I've never tipped a taxi driver $1,000. And it made me wake up the next day and I was like, do you know what? I want a little bit of that energy in me. Do you know what? I'm going to work so I can get to that. That was more motivating than any amount of followers, than any amount of balloons you get for 1 million followers. I was like, that's big dick energy. I've never seen this piece, but that was big dick energy. And do you know what? I took out of all the thing that, and this was doing an event with an organization called Clean Health. And there was loads of business owners and speakers doing stuff. A bit like, you know, how Gary Vee might have said one thing at that event that changed your life. Watching him do that without one camera on, I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to do spin kicks and all of that stuff, but that to me was probably one of the most inspiring things I'd seen from an entrepreneur.
What do you think about that really resonated with you?
I think deep down, a lot of us have a big desire to provide. I think that, but that providing isn't just your family. You'll have it here with your staff. And I don't think some of us even realize this until like with anyone that works for me at the moment, which is a much smaller team than yours. When I think about providing, it's making sure that if something goes wrong, if their car breaks down, you could be like, hey, bro, I'm going to buy you a car. You still got to pay me back, but don't worry about it, whatever. For me, it's paying off friends' credit card debts. It's getting people an upgrade on their flights. It's making sure that if anyone in on this whole floor had financial hardship, you're like, bro, I've got you. Like, cool. 50K is in the account. Just give it back when you can. So that component of it, you have your family, you have your friends, then you have your staff. No offense to your staff, but your friends and family are going to come first. But Adam's at a position where he can go wider than that. He can provide for a fucking stranger that just so happened to be his taxi driver. And I think that as your level of wealth comes, you know, to a wider point, you can get to that. And I know Joe Rogan, I remember him, he was ripping into one of his friends. His friend said he doesn't tip. And he was like, bro, give him $1,000. You won't feel it. He's like, he got his back up about it. I'm not sure if it's like Brian Callen or something like that. He's like, bro, you make loads of money. Just give him $1,000 every time you go for dinner.
It was Brian Callen.
Yeah. And seeing Joe like that as well, I was like, oh, do you know what? That's what I want. I want to be at dinner. Well, sometimes it depends who I'm at dinner with. Where if I'm at dinner with Adam, I'm like, he's buying this. But when I'm at dinner with him, do you know what? Actually, credit to him. It's going to sound like I'm sucking him off in this pod, but we're in Ibiza together, and I would sneak off to pay the bill, and I would get there, and he'd be sat in the corner looking at me, going, "I've already paid it." no, Matt. And this is a group of like 15 of my friends. Yeah. He's the only person from Australia on the table. Yeah. He's like, I fucking paid it, cunt. There's just always that kind of energy where when you're going to dinner, you know you're getting it for everyone else. It's like a kind of weird thing. And again, it's a self-serving thing. We do it because it makes us feel good. People can say you want to look after your staff. It's a selfish vendetta. We do it because it makes us feel good. So, but I think deep down there will be so many people potentially listening to this that go, actually, that is what I want. It is the fact that, you know, look after your parents. It's like my mum and dad wanted to downsize this year. And I was like, no. I was like, absolutely not. I was like, I grew up in this house. Selfish vendetta as well, by the way, because I spent every day of my life in this house. So even if my mum and dad are in Zimmer frames, I don't want that to be in a different house. I want to come home and use my bathroom and my bedroom. But either way, I was like, look, you're staying in that house. I don't care what the mortgage costs. We'll pay it off, whatever. Yeah. So those side of it as well. Like, you can be very generous and selfish at the same time. That's the entrepreneurial dream.
I like that. You can be generous and selfish at the same time. I like what you said there about energy. I think to myself, I remember I worked for this guy, Henry, and he told me more about sales than like any book or anything I'd ever read, because he was just all energy. And I remember him sharing with me this quote that he loved from Albert Einstein, and it says, everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of that which you want, and you cannot help but have it. This isn't physics. He said, this isn't philosophy, this is physics. And every time I read this quote, it hits me, because here is like one of the most iconic, intelligent people of like the human race talking about how frequency and energy is more valuable than kind of anything else. When you think about the frequency and the energy of spending time with someone like this, or even like what you've accomplished yourself or friends in your circles, like what is that people might not quite understand, but would certainly need to tap into?
It's it's a difficult one. I definitely think at some point in my life I'll be due to do some therapy sessions. But when you get when you have something that goes right or fortunate, you come to the reality that these opportunities don't happen for everyone. So it becomes a burden. It becomes a weight on the shoulders. And I know you probably felt this at some point too, where the days that you don't really want to do it, because they happen. There are days where you just can't be fucked. You think and you're like, oh, you could give, not to chat shit about my friends, you give them 100 years and I don't think they could catch up with me. So I need to do this. I need to do everything. I need to make sure that everything's taken care of. Otherwise, it's never going to happen. Now, that might not be true, but on the basis that it is true, that's what motivates me, if that makes sense. So I think that's kind of a deep-rooted element of why people do what they do, why I do what I do, what the motivation behind that is. I would say that's where the energy comes from. And I think that when I see other people with that energy, that's what gasses me up. And sometimes it could be peers, but sometimes it could be prospects, because you can want the same thing and not be there yet. And so let's say you had a room here with 100 entrepreneurs that all want to do what you do at the moment. You're still on the same wavelength. You're still on the same frequency. They're just 5 years behind.
Right.
So
You're saying that, let's say you don't have the items or the rewards or the accolades yet, you can still get on that frequency now.
you can see it in them. There's one lad who I just hired recently where he sent me a cold email, and at the bottom, he showed me the statistics from a tracking link on one YouTube video where he got 3,500 emails. It's like, you're hired. It's like, you can have a job. He speaks fluent YouTube, and he got, from a small channel, 3,500 emails from an organic video with no paid. And I thought, this guy's obviously watched enough of my content to see what I value. And he's still at university. And I said, why do you want to do this? What do you want out of this? And then he was honest with me. He goes, well, if I help you for 5 years, then I can just use the success that you get to benefit my own career further on. It's like, perfect. I was like, milk away, brother.
Yeah.
And
He's
so,
being very honest.
yeah. And you can see it then. So one thing I was saying, I did a webinar yesterday. One thing, again, for people to potentially get maybe a bit excited about. Some people think they need to be really far ahead of other people to give them advice. So for instance, I was late to this business to business guru space because I didn't think I'd done enough. And most of my accolades were status related, not financial. So what I mean by that is I had been on all the big TV shows, done a lot of the big podcasts, 3 #1 best-selling books, but I didn't have liquid millions in my bank account. So I'd done the vanity metrics, but not the financial ones. And then I realized there were so many people that had done the financial one, but had none of the vanity metrics. And we were both on different sides of the fence. And we were both a little bit like, oh, like Spider-Man, both pointing at each other. They're like, I want to get spotted on the street. I'm like, I want $1 million liquid in the bank account. So then I thought I kind of need to be at this position. And then I came to realize, and again, there's a lot of tangents from fitness industry and to business, but also from jiu-jitsu. So in jiu-jitsu, as a white belt and a blue belt, sometimes the black belt is so far ahead of you, the advice they give you doesn't really make sense because they go, oh, just do this, then do that. But the thing they just said to do easily, I don't know how to do either. So the way of getting there, I have no idea. Whereas if you talk to a purple belt, he was where you were just 2 years ago.
Right.
The black belt's been a black belt for 15 years. So he hasn't been a blue belt for 20 years. Whereas the guy who's only 2 years ahead of you goes, hey mate, basically next time you do that, put your foot here, right where the pocket would be, put your foot there and it makes it easier to go over the top. Sometimes having someone that was in your shoes only a couple of years ago is a way better mentor than the person who did it 18 years ago. The person that has the mastery, again, if we look at someone like Daniel Priestley, I love him, fantastic information, whatever. But where he's been building businesses that've got 30 members of staff and, got all of these different departments, sometimes when I unfortunately have to work with a lot of personal trainers, no offense to personal trainers, they're just fucking hard work. Because like I say, most of them are in the industry because they look good. So when I work with those guys, sometimes I think I can help them better than other people because I was there 5 years ago. Whereas the people that have scaled businesses to hundreds of millions, they haven't been there for so long. So when you're in these fields, when you're in these realms and worlds or whatever, sometimes if you're only a little bit far removed from the trenches, you could be a way better mentor, a way better coach, and a way better inspiration to someone than someone that used to be there 10, 15 years ago. And I think people overlook that a bit. Almost you can see it in training where a purple belt doesn't want to give you advice because he's not a black belt yet. Where the reality is if he waits till black belt, he's going to have such a period of time away from the trade and experience in that area that his advice is only going to get worse as he gets closer to mastery, which is one of the kind of most paradoxical things ever.
So when you think about how people have the ambition right now to be more public on social media, because what I've noticed in this space doing branding is 5 years ago, I would encourage people, hey, you should start making content. It should be, something that you can consider to make leads for your business. The conversation at that point in time was, convince me. 3 years ago, it was a bit more, hey, tell me more about this. I'm kind of interested in how people are monetizing personal branding. Whereas now, pretty much every business owner I meet says to me, I got to figure this thing out. What do you think is the temperament required for someone to truly embrace social media?
I've got a theory on this, and John, I hate the fact I keep bringing this back to fitness. I am sorry to anyone.
That's listening. Okay, man.
So if you had a lagging body part, the first thing we should do is give more volume. That's it. So, bro, my legs aren't growing. Cool, double the amount of volume. What do you mean? Well, how many sets of squats do you do a week? 4. Make it 8. Let me know in 2 months. Real
so
simple.
like 8 sets instead of 4 sets.
Yeah, just double the amount you give your legs.
Not the weight, the sets.
Just literally double the amount of time work you do. Because by doubling the volume, the intensity will come down a bit. But we're just allocating more volume. So if you had a lagging department here, let's put another hire in there. Let's just add another member to the team. Real simple, just add volume. So with the content side of things, one thing that I think is really powerful at the moment is to add volume. I know Daniel Priestley's got his 7 hours, 4 platforms, 11 touch points, something like that. Google put out a study about collecting 7 hours. I've come full circle back to this now. So let's say you've got any businesses and brands out there. I say to them, how long would it take me to listen to 7 hours of your content? And if it's 1 minute video on Instagram and I see 3 of them a week, that could be 2 years. But if it's an 11-minute video on YouTube, it could be 3 months if I watch 2 or 3 a week. With a podcast, even from today, people are going to get 2 out of those 7 hours. So with these people that are thinking about social media, how much they want to put their face and their brand out there, I'm now just bringing it back to basics and going, it's a volume game, ultimately. Now, your first sets of squats are going to look like shit.
Well, temperament, I think what I'd like to understand is like a lot of people talk about how they want to get on social media. So like maybe I'll split it into 2 questions. One being, should everyone that has a business consider making social media content as a personal brand? And then secondly, how can they better adjust themselves to start that journey?
To answer question 1, I've seen them in Dubai and in Ireland. Now when you cross the road, the green light is on the floor. Seen this?
Yes. I've seen videos of it. I've not experienced it.
So if you had a business owner or a brand here and they go, shall I be on social media? I go, do you know why that's on the floor? Yeah, because people are on their fucking phone. That money.
They're not looking up here. They're looking down there.
Oh, you want to spend money on a billboard? Idiot. People are looking down, bro. They're on their phone. If you want to get in front of people, don't put a plane in the sky fucking pulling your name across. Get it on a phone. So for me, social media easily has to be there. The second question, again, it's only jiu-jitsu and fitness, the analogies I use. If I bring you to a jiu-jitsu gym, you start off as a white belt. And the rule is you're going to be fucking shit for 2 years. 2 years. What if I come more? Maybe 1 year. And then what? Then you're a blue belt. What does that mean? Well, you're less shit, but still shit. You're just better than the white belts. But the purple belt's going to fucking munch you up all day. And then what? Oh, well, then you'd be a purple belt. You'd be middle of the pack. How long have you been training now? 6 years? Okay, what happens now? Brown belts will kill you. Black belts will have you up. But you now get to bully the white and the blue belts. So in that realm and jiu-jitsu, people are like, that's fine. And with this again, welcome to jiu-jitsu. Your ears are going to get fucked. You're probably going to blow an ACL. You're going to dislocate a couple fingers. You're going to get a black eye and probably have some kind of dental damage. People are like, yeah, great. I'll do it for 10 years. When they come into the realm of content creation, they go, so what do I do? And I kind of just want to say to people like, oh, just be shit for 2 years. But they don't want to hear that. They want to hear, oh, can I not pay one of these guys? Like, well, not really. Cadence, pacing, confidence. There's also a word I've been throwing around at the moment, aura. There are people I work with and they will eat shit for 11, 12 months. Then one video will take off and it'll be a vanity metric. And I'll remind them, I'll be like, hey, well done. But until I see the clients come through from it, I don't really fucking care. But then the next follow-up videos, they have an aura to them. Because they've now seen it work, they are a different person. when their first video, even an Instagram reel, hits 1 million views, they wake up the next day going, this is going to work. There's belief there now. Before there was uncertainty, now there's belief. And people need to work really hard to get that first like aura shift. I would even go as far to say, if you could watch I wish there was like a postural assessment that you could do on people through different stages of success. Maybe first content creation, how you hold yourself, how you cross your legs, how upright you stand, the way you interact. I'm pretty sure if you observe people from afar, you can determine the status hierarchy from their posture alone. So Jordan Peterson said you put lobsters in a bucket, they'll get into a status hierarchy. Humans do it too. The cadence of speaking, the tone of voice, who mirrors who, all of these things, they're very little subtle tones in status. But I honestly think you could notice it when someone's had a video that's popped off. The next video they're in, the way they present themselves is just different. They just find that little bit of flow state because they don't go into that video as, hi, my name's James and I've never had a video do well. They're like, I just hit 1 million. How can I do better? Same way that probably people that have grown loads of businesses get to a position where the next business they're in, they hit turmoil, they're like, we're fine. They have that flow. They know they can do it. They've got the belief. You can't fake that aura. So people need to go on that journey of eating shit to get that. And again, the blue belt is earned through eating shit. There's no other way to do it. There's literally no other way. You can get it through tenure, sure, but ultimately, even if you go to the gym and you're not a competitive athlete, you're still going to get beaten up. Everyone's going to see your white belt and they're going to come for you because they were a white belt once. So it's one of those things where I think people, if they could just cozy up with that, like you wear braces for like 2 years. It takes 2 years to straighten your teeth, bro. You're not going to get amazing at content in fucking 8 weeks. And even if they did like a crash course or whatever, learning to drive takes months. Even Australia, you only have 2 pedals in Australia. Back in my day in the UK, we had manuals. We had a clutch. I had to get in the car and go, Dad, what is that? What is that third pedal? Go stop. What the fuck is that?
Yeah.
So that's really the message. But again, this isn't what people want to hear. They don't want to hear, what do you mean I've got to be shit for 2 years? But good news is a lot of these business owners, I'm like, mate, your mortgage is paid. You got a hot wife. You drive a lovely car. You got 2 kids. It's okay to be shit at content. And I think that's where jiu-jitsu helps so many people, where they turn up to something in their life they're truly awful at, but they leave and they go home to their beautiful family and go, oh, I'm fine. So when something goes wrong at work, they go, do you know what? This is just an occasion that's happening in a small part of my life. It's not everything.
When you think about people that are nervous to take that first leap, and the jiu-jitsu analogy is fantastic. Eating shit is something that people are scared of, and
doesn't sound too appealing.
Doesn't sound too appealing. However, you're saying there's no shortcut, there's no hack, there's no bypass. It's just you have to go through the obstacle. There's no way around it. When you think about the things people are going to learn on that journey, what are some things that they can be aware of that might help them not eat shit, but be aware of what's happening as it's happening?
So the first thing is that everyone seems to think that confidence is a precursor to action, but it's inverse. The only way you get confident is through doing it first, then enduring it. Someone's like, oh, just want to find the confidence to do content. You're like, no, that's not how this works. You do it first, then you find the confidence later. The second thing is eating shit is actually amazing because every time you do it, there's a little bit of feedback. So again, jiu-jitsu, sorry. Every time you make a mistake, you get submitted, but a submission isn't bad. It's like your arm being straightened or your wrist being bent or an arm going around your neck and someone squeezing. But every time there's a signal to your brain, shouldn't have done that. That was a mistake. So next time that happens, you go, cool, I'm not going to put my hand in that place. Then you go down a different path of a mistake or whatever. But every time you get submitted, there's no real harm that's done to you. This is why I love it as a sport. In boxing, if you don't put a glove up, you're getting cracked in the temple. Even in light sparring, there's a little bit of CTE that just happened. In jiu-jitsu, you laugh, you slap hands, you bump with your partner, and you go again. And you can just keep failing. Then eventually you get past that point. Similar to if you play chess, you might make it 3-4 moves before you get a pawn taken or whatever. And then suddenly you anticipate the move. They come for your pawn, you take theirs. That is the whole way up. So with content, your video bombs. Okay. Watch it back. What was the issue? Oh, a bit of feedback. people left here. Why? Why was the click-through rate poor? Why was this? It's only with those bits of content that you can then start to get the feedback necessary. Same way that, even chatting people up when you're younger, you might go in too zealously, they back off. You might be too nonchalant, you never get the date. It's only through getting all these bits of feedback that we can create a style. You did sales for a long time.
Yeah, a long time.
So you would have had so many pitches that just bomb.
Heaps.
And it's only through that you go, I probably should have got to it quicker. You walk away, you tried to close too early, or your approach was wrong. So I did, first I worked in a pub, which was great because it got me talking to strangers. And the guy that ran the bar with me, it was a pub next to a caravan site. So we had some interesting people in there. And he was like, shake hands with the members when they come in. So every time someone came in, and then just trying to remember their drinks and the way they were like, yeah, we'll have a John Smith's, thanks. Then I worked in shopping centres, stopping people in the shopping centres, selling them stuff. And I got so much feedback, pretty much being told to fuck off, that when I went into door-to-door sales, it was a breeze. And I was selling gas and electric for a company called Empire in the UK. And every time I knocked on a door, I got a brand new opportunity. And the thing is, I never had to knock on a door twice. Same way with content. You don't have to do the same video twice. You probably do the same idea twice. But once you've done that video, that piece of content, you've sent it. Even if it's bombed, it's behind you now. The next video you put out, you're not going to be the same person. You're going to be one video more experienced, one video, more educated, or the more comfortable in front of camera. The repetitions, the reps. It's very rare that you're going to knock on doors for a month. I'm going to come back and you're worse. It's very rare that you're going to cold pitch to businesses for a month. I'm going to come back and you're worse. Even if you haven't had any success, which again would be another thing, to reframe success as doing the thing, not winning. So, for instance, doing these door knocking in Gloucester, which at the time was hell. Looking back, I'm like, that was great. I remember one day I tried to quit. I slipped on a bit of ice, cracked my laptop, and I was like, fuck this, man. I went and sat in the car, called my boss, and he was driving. He pulls over and he goes, Jamie, is it? I was like, no, James Smith. All right. Oh, yeah. Well, Jamie, mate, let me get up your score. It's James. Yep. Cheers. Cool. He goes through it and he goes, well, according to your data, you get one sale every 100 doors. I went, yeah. He goes, how many more sales do you need for the day? It's like 2. He's like, all right, we'll knock on 200 more fucking doors then. Put the phone down. I was like, do you know what? Now he's put it like that. Went and knocked on the next door, got told to fuck off. I was like, 199 left. Yeah. And my focus went more on people saying no to them. When someone went, do you know what? Come in. British Gas just put our rates up. I was shocked. I became so focused on getting no's from people that when a yes came, I was like, well, that's bloody pleasant. And again, for this content creation, people are going to be sat there in a comfortable environment in their house or in their studio or in their office. They're going to talk down the lens of a DSLR camera into the black glass disc, which is kind of weird. And if it bombs, no one's going to see it. That's it. Whereas in a shopping center, people pretend you're invisible. They say no thanks. On a door, people tell you to fuck off. People say, get a real job. I thought you were here to read the meter. The reactions and stuff you get in real life. Online, people just swipe past it, or the algorithm will never even show it to them in the first place. The consequences, there's something called a Pyrrhic victory. And to encapsulate a Pyrrhic victory, there's a picture of a dog jumping off a cliff to get a bird. So it's victory for the dog, but its cost him his life. And a Pyrrhic victory is if you go to battle and you all die to win the war or to win the battle, it wasn't worth it because you were tantamount to defeat and achieving victory. But in reality, none of that's ever going to happen. You're not losing anything by putting yourself out there in content. It's not like every video you put out, you shorten your life or anything like that. It's just an attempt. You will get better. Unfortunately, you will eat shit. But if you can just smile and rub it off, like you've got people in jiu-jitsu, CEOs, multimillionaires, you got Tom Hardy, then you've got a high school teacher. When they lose, they smile, they take the feedback, they get up, they continue. They don't choose to be humiliated, they choose to be educated.
Now, you talk about how the internet at large, people tend to not care about you or your story so much as they care about themselves. When you think about this knocking on door concepts, obviously, the more content you make, the more feedback, the better you can get. You compound your failures, you learn what works and what doesn't work. I understand that much. When you think about how people knee-jerk reaction to that kind of advice is like, yeah, I'll get around to it, like maybe later. Like they're still not open-minded to it, perhaps. When you think about the initial feedback from someone when you're trying to give them these tips in that moment, they do tend to go back to like more of a traumatic experience from like having done it once or twice before. Why is it that people on the internet don't care as much about you, they care more about themselves? And then how do you help people better understand the dynamic of how that really runs the algorithm?
So first question, there was a lady out there, one of your members of staff. She goes, oh, I follow you, I really like your stuff. If we were to go back in time and we were to remove every single time that I'd helped her in some way. Now that help could be quote unquote, education, calling out BS, humor, entertainment. We take out those little instances. James helped me here. James helped me here. James helped me here. If we just take out all the times that I helped her, I'm just a dickhead in a Porsche. I am. If she'd seen me go down Kent Street this morning in first gear with my custom exhaust, she would have gone, what a fucking knob. But we put back in all those times I've helped her and she's gone, that's James Smith, what a legend. It's only because of that. So I like to remind people that anyone out there, if they ever think that I've helped or if they think they like me or they are drawn to my brand, it's only because of all those instances.
You've done something for them.
Yes, that is it. And even, dare I say it for you, people that love this podcast, they love what you do for them. And what you do for them is you bring in people such as myself and people a lot smarter. You ask the right questions in the right way. You also respect them by having a technical setup with having mics right next to the face, by having 3 cameras, by paying attention to the edits, by curating it, by having a posting schedule. You are doing so much for them. This isn't cheap. The studio, you got the rent, you got the lights, you got all of these things. You are doing it for them. Now, in return, you are promoting your own stuff. You are running your own business. Cool. But maybe 5% of your audience, let's say, buy your stuff. The other 90%, you're just subservient to them, helping them out. Again, if they see you in the street, they're going to go, mate, fucking legend, love the podcast, whatever. I joke, I shit on Chris a bit. Chris Williamson. I go, bro, all this guy does is ask questions. I go, you don't love Chris Williamson. You love the questions he asks.
Yeah.
I was like, mate, this is the biggest con in the world being a podcast host. I was like, you get people to love you for asking the right questions. I like, so I'm not going to shit too much on here.
Awesome, keep going.
So I like to remind people that, yeah, no one cares about you and that's okay. They care about themselves. So let's say, let's remove this from context. No jiu-jitsu, no fitness. There's a person on TikTok called Terry the Tiler, and he tiles bathrooms. And I love watching his content. I never plan on tiling a bathroom in my life. I just like the process. And I was talking to someone who does something similar, does bathroom transformations, went onto his Instagram, and he shows all these amazing bathrooms. I go, bro, you fucked up. I go, I need to see before and I need to see after. And I need the transformation of that. And I said, the reason is, when I see that transformation, I don't give a fuck about that person's house. I don't give a fuck about how their bathroom looked before. I don't give a fuck about how it looks after. But do you know what I do give a fuck about? My bathroom. And when I look at that transformation, I see my bathroom and I see how mine can relate to the before and how my wants and needs relate to the after in fitness. A PT shows off a client that lost 40 kilograms. I don't give a fuck about Trish when she was 140. And do you know what? I don't give a fuck about Trish at 100. Do you know what I care about? I've got 40 kilograms to lose. And if it works for her, it will fucking work for me. Same way that if I'm watching a vlog or whatever it is, if people could just understand that it's their own transformative journey they care about. So when you share other transformative journeys, when you're showing your prospects things that you've done with your clients, they don't care about you, they don't care about your client, they just care about themselves. So you show them that journey so their self-centered part of them can connect to it. And again, like, it sounds like a really depressing kind of way to approach content. But it's so simple that when you start a video saying, this is my favorite breakfast and it helped me lose 5 kilograms in the last month, all you need to do is go, if you're someone that wants to lose weight and have an amazing breakfast, you should try eating this every day because I just ate it and I managed to lose 4 kilograms over 4 months or over the last month. And if you eat it, not only will you love it, you could get the same results. You are taking the same story, but just framing it to that person. Rather than how I made $10 million this year, you would say, do these 21 things to make $10 million in your first year. You're just reframing things so people can see it themselves. And if you can help people enough with those different things, they will be under this weird illusion that they like you. And that's fine. This is okay, the dance we do it. Even in relationships, right? You're married, right?
Engaged.
Engaged,
Should
cool.
be married. We've
Same.
been together for 10
Yeah,
years.
same. I got the dog and the child. I keep pushing it back.
Yeah, I
then
got
they've
two kids.
Yeah.
We've been together 10 years. We're about to buy a house. Still not married. Yeah.
Yeah. So your fiance, there is an agreement between both of you where you actually have a responsibility to solve problems for the other party. That is actually what you do. You provide, you have your roles, right? If one of you fails to fulfill the other person's needs, you end up splitting. So even the most loving of relationships are bonded with our own needs and wants. And that's okay. And actually, you need to care about yourself so much that you are a successful providing man who is happy. And she needs to be so fucking selfish that all she cares about is having you in her life to solve all her problems. And that makes it sound like a really bad thing. But if you can both have shared values, but both be incredibly self-centered, you can love each other. Because if one of you fails to be self-centered, if one of you fails to do what you need to do to make yourself happy, you end up draining on the other person. And I think there's something kind of beautiful to this thing that we are all self-centered, even philanthropic people. You know, I joked before, by being generous and providing for other people, you're doing it because it makes you feel good. And that's okay. It means you're wired correctly.
I would agree. Even Mother Teresa did what she did for her own needs.
Yeah. And this real just human psychology. And when you can understand that people that give to charity, they're mainly doing it because it makes them feel good. And that's completely fine. The charity still needs the money. So with your content, just make sure it solves their problem. Because people watch vlogs. They might watch a Logan Paul vlog and go, I love Logan Paul. I love his vlogs. I'm going to do a vlog. You go, no. Logan is a very sophisticated storyteller who's making a piece of content. He's putting a digital asset on the internet where he's got lots of things that are going to solve your problem of needing entertainment. Again, you remove Logan Paul's vlogs, he's just a fucking 6'2" dude with blonde hair going bald. With the quiff, him and Jake, me too. It's all right, brothers, you know, like just keep trying to grow the front bit and do it across. I did it for years. So in that people's content creation journey, people say to me like ideating content, whatever, stop. What problem are you solving for them? What are the problem that you're solving for them? Because human beings are problem solvers ultimately. And if you can solve people's problems enough, they'll pretty much just come to you and say, cool, where can I join? How can I help? And if you want people to really like your brand, just solve their problems.
I love what you're saying here because I think your objective is to essentially act in service, either that of entertainment, that of making their day brighter, better, solving a problem, like you said. When we think about the next step from that, like people typically ask the question, well, okay, great, but how do I then monetize it? Do you think that if people are too caught up in the monetization component that they can lose the magic or the aura of the content?
Okay, so this is another thing I've been working on, and this has got a name. I call it the pyramid attribution. Or it could be the attribution pyramid. I don't even know which way it goes. So even at probably peak, 1 to 1.5% of my following is doing business with me at any given point. So I say 1%, people are like, that's not a lot. Hold on, 11,400. If you're not living a very comfortable life with that many clients, you fucked up somewhere. So if we look at that pyramid, right, and only the top 1% are doing business with you, a lot of people think that's a bad pyramid. I'm like, no, that's an amazing pyramid. And also I would say that's indicative of pretty good statistics. On a good converting landing page, I think that 1% conversion on a mass scale is pretty good. I think it's easier to go from, you say you need a sale, you send 100 people. Everyone's like, how do I get my conversions up? I'm like, actually, bro, the easiest thing, just send another 100 people. You know, rather than fixating so much, I know that your marketing brains can be like, no, we could A/B split test, we could do dark mode, we can move the VSL, we could change the header.
But I would actually tend to agree with you because recently Alex Hormozi was talking about this, and I had a meeting with my marketing team because our team were like fixating on conversions, and I was like, guys, what about volume? You know what I mean? Like
remember I said add more volume.
1% of 2,000 is better than 1% of 1,000.
Can I just have a little pop at Alex Hormozi? Don't let me forget the pyramid attribution.
We're all friends at the end of the day, but go ahead.
He tells people to niche.
Yes.
You ever seen him niche?
No.
The biggest fucking mass market fucking entrepreneur in the world with millions and millions of followers, putting out 300 pieces of content a week. He's telling me to niche. You just sold 2.7 million books in a fucking day, mate. You telling me to niche. You fucking sell to any person who's got a fucking bank account. Don't tell me to niche, Alex Hormozi. You are the anti-niche. You are the least niche business guru that's ever gone. Literally, he will sell anything to anyone. He got people to buy like 20 books each or whatever he was doing. Don't tell me to niche, bro. You don't niche. You never niche.
What's the dangers of niching?
People niche too much. And also, I think people niche to the person, not the problem.
Oh, I like this. Okay, explain that.
So some people say to me, I want to work with mums. to help them lose weight, get in shape, feel better.
Right. So they're niching to a person.
And I go, cool.
Yeah.
I go, tell me about that person. They go, oh, never putting themselves first, not sleeping enough, tired, probably needs to do a bit more self-care, all of these things. I go, oh, so just like a nurse. And they go, oh yeah, I suppose nurses don't put themselves first. They've got horrible shifts. They probably don't eat that well. Could probably do that. I was like, but if you niched to the person, you're like, hey, if you're tired, you're not putting yourself first and your sleep's a bit fucked, so there's nothing you can do about it. Maybe we work around that and we put together a solution for you. Because then the nurse can see it and go perfect. The mother can see it and go perfect. Then the person that works in fucking ambulance shift can see it and go perfect. But if you go, I help busy mums between 30 and 45 get in shape, and I'm like, no, because you will potentially be attracted to those people. But I think you're better to niche on the problem, not the person.
And by doing that, you're shooting yourself in the foot by kind of excluding those that might find you interesting.
I did a rant yesterday where someone's like, oh, I wanna help dads get back into shape. And I'm like, cool. I'm like, do you know who's happy to be fat? Dads. Do you know why? Because they got beautiful children in front of them. They got a partner who's going through their own recovery from being pregnant. If he gets a six-pack while she's 3 months postnatal, she's going to fucking kill him. I was like, leave the dads alone. I go, do you know who needs to get in shape? Fat losers in their 20s that don't have girlfriends. So I was like, don't go after fucking dads, because if you go out there helping dudes get in better shape, some dads will come to you. The rest of them will go, fuck off, mate. Come back in 2 years. But if you go out there trying to help men, not busy dads, but men, you're going to have a 28-year-old who needs to lose about 15 kilograms because he's playing too many video games, drinking, smoking weed during the week, and he's still single. And if he doesn't sort his life out, he's going to have a childless existence for the rest of his life because he's not much of enough of a man to find a good enough woman for his standards. I'm like, that's the man that pays you, listens to you, does your fucking workouts, and gives you a good testimonial. So he just went, oh, because I'm a dad, I could work with busy dads. I'm like, think about real problems that are out there. If you want to niche those problems. If you're a man, you're out of shape, you're not adding enough value to women in your life, or may not have women in your life. So always niche to the problems that people solve. So I say to people, I go, I help small businesses make more money online using social media. What's a small business? I don't fucking know. But I just don't want Oracle coming to me for help because I can't help you, brother. And then make more money. How much is that? I don't fucking know. If it was 100K, yeah, come on in. 10 mil, come on in. Don't care. Online, what does that mean? I don't know. Is it email marketing? Is it landing pages? Is it social media? I don't care. And the worst case is if I attract the wrong people, within the first day, I'll go, here's your money back. You're the wrong person. What I don't want to do is, if you're a fitness business earning between 100 to 300K and you're left-handed, then join my account. Like it just, there's one woman online at the moment who's like, hey, lesbians, if you want to get in shape. I'm like, whoa. Let's calm down here. Your sexuality is not interfering with your calorie equation. So back to the pyramid attribution. So some people can get very caught up in the fact that just 1% of people are doing business with them. And I say, well, first of all, that's fine. And the first thing that I have is call it the fist bump effect. I go, you have to be cool with people coming up to you and giving you a fist bump that say they love your stuff and have never bought from you. Now, some marketers could say it's a wasted conversion. Oh, well, if you'd done this better, they could have bought from you. I go, no. Because algorithmically, you need the 99% of people that don't buy from you. If you try and niche too hard and you try and make content too specific to dads, the number of dads who are going to resonate with your content is too small for the larger algorithm to score it as being good. You need to be broad with a lot of things you talk about, because the 99% of people that never buy your shit, if they enjoy that and they watch it through, the algorithm's going to go, people are enjoying this, and it's going to find you more 1%ers.
Right. It's almost like you're renting a crowd, right? You're paying this extra money, the surplus, to be like, man, I got to spend all this time and money and energy and resources for the 99% that never buy. But by paying that rent, they're feeding the algorithm and pointing more people of that 1% back to you.
Exactly the same. This podcast, for instance, let's say you were to sit there and go, oh, guys, the last episode, we got 100,000 downloads. We only got 1,000 leads. Fucking hell. Let's niche the podcast down so we can get more. I'm like, no, bro. Like, let's just try and grow the podcast to get 1 million views. How are we going to do that? Let's put a trailer on it. Let's do this. Let's do that. Suddenly, you go to 1 million views, 1%, you now got 10,000 leads. So people that try and niche down, they try and talk in too many terms to attract that person. Hey, dad, with your 2 kids at home, feeling deflated as your wife's gone back to work. Most people see that and they go, I'm not dad, see ya. I haven't got 2 kids. No, I actually don't do that. Boom. Algorithm sees the video, goes, this is shit, never get any reach. And those businesses struggle. Whereas if they had just made a piece of content that helps everyone, they can go far and wide, get shown algorithmically, have people sign up to the chatbot, get people onto their email list. And then maybe they're going through the emails, go, do you know what? I don't think this guy's right for me. But it can happen further down the stages rather than straight away people being turned off by the content. And actually, you can be broad as you like at that top part of the funnel. You can start to niche down your offers as you get closer. You could start to have several offers on your email marketing, or you can have a landing page. You can have people siphon out. But to lose them so early on in the journey by trying to niche too much, to me is just ridiculous. And that's one of the things that I hate. And when I say to people, like looking at that pyramid again, if you want that 1% to grow, rather than fixating on that, just make the whole pyramid bigger. Grow the audience, because so many benefits come with that as well. Once you hit 10,000 on Insta, people just think you're less likely to scam them. It's a vanity metric, but I don't know what it is. I say to people, be careful buying the blue tick before 10K. It looks sus as fuck. 9,950 followers, blue tick, I'm like, you bought it. 10,100 followers, 10.1K, I'm like, looks legit, right? There are certain things to it. But yeah, I absolutely would do everything in my power to try and take you from 1% to 2%. But at the same time, just keep making the pyramid bigger. And that's why I think a lot of brands, you can do it synergistically, but so many brands look to try and, what they actually do is they try and make the pyramid smaller and they try and make that 1% bigger at the same time. I think completely go the other way.
Now, something you said while you're trying to grow your pyramid, you're trying to make it bigger, is that education isn't enough. You must arm your audience. What's the difference between giving people knowledge and then giving them power?
Okay, one thing I would say as well with this point, for the education piece, TED Talks do really well. Stand-up comedy does really well. But if you watch a TED Talk, you get bored. If you watch stand-up, you feel unproductive. If you can intertwine humor, only if you've got humor, if you can intertwine that into what you do, you can go on a cadence between being educational, then you can have some fun. I did a creatine video where I was trying to explain to people how big a dose should be. And it should be about 5 grams. But if you're a bit bigger, it should be a little bit more. And as I was just doing content, this probably only just come from years of doing it, I turned to the camera and said, if you're the type of guy to walk around Thailand and have the girl say, oh, big boy, you probably need a little bit more than 5 grams. All the comments on that were like, bro, the big boy comment got me. I'm following you from that. Like something just ad hoc, because you walk through like Bangkok and they're, oh, big boy. And you're like, oh, yeah, do you know what? Maybe I am. You'd get it a lot, 6'4". So if you can just put those little cadence breaks in there, you can make education fun. Same way, do you know Matt Armstrong?
No.
YouTuber from the UK, rebuilds crash damaged cars. He gets...
Oh, I know this guy. Yeah. I have seen his content. I just didn't know his name.
Unbelievable. And now, to some people, they think it's entertainment because nice cars, building it. His dad's actually the funniest character out of the whole thing. His dad's just a bit of a geek, whatever. But then the educational component, you don't even realize you're learning about prop shafts, sumps, spark plugs, doors, hinges, wraps, all that. You don't even realize it's a perfect symphony of education and entertainment put together. Then he has a storytelling element where he uses dramatic music. And I think he's watched a lot of Top Gear. So he will raise the stakes and be like, we've got 7 days to rebuild this car. He'll press start on the stopwatch just to let people know he's got as long as he fucking wants. He's a YouTuber. He can do what he wants. He's like, we have 7 days to do this car before it gets a tune on Monday. Bro, you got 5 million subscribers. You can push the tune place back a day. All of the stuff, he does the dramatization of it. Now, people watching it, they're not just getting entertained. They're leaving going, I know what a dry sump is. You know, like in The Matrix where it's like, I just learned Kung Fu. It's like people watch his content, they're sucked into it.
Yeah. That's the best analogy is like, I just learned Kung Fu and I didn't realize it.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you seen one of the best kind of lessons on content arc? Have you ever heard of a channel called Carwow? It's English.
Carwow? No.
So imagine this. There's
like CARWOW?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So it's about 10.5 million subscribers. And they're a company in the UK that help you buy and sell a car, which is pretty weird. But in Australia, first of all, you guys are fucking backwards. Where if you want to sell a car, you get an A4 bit of paper, you write on it with a felt tip for sale, and you park it on the grass outside your local park.
Yeah.
I'm like, you might as well be that dude in the clipboard back in Fitness First. So you guys are a bit backwards when it comes to selling cars.
I would agree, man. It's not a great idea.
In the UK, we had a website called We Buy Any Car, and guess what they do? They buy any car. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, so cool. But Carwow came along and wanted to do it better. They want to offer you more money for their car. Now, when they go to YouTube, they go, no one gives a fuck about this. So they went, who was our audience? Automotive fans. So what are we going to do? We're going to do drag races. So they just drag race different cars and promote their business that buys and sells cars. Every single thumbnail on the channel is the 2 cars that are going to drag race. And it would be like a McLaren 720 LT and a Porsche 911 GT3 RS, something like that. And the title just says, what wins in a drag race between these 2? And straight away, you've got the curiosity. I know exactly what the video is about. Every single title and thumbnail is pretty much the same. Or they might get 4 Nissan GTRs of different generations. Which Nissan GTR is the fastest? The type of thumbnail that you see, you go, I don't care. Then 10 seconds later, you go, yes, I do. You click on it. The video is perfect. Hook. What wins in a drag race between a McLaren 720 LT and a Porsche 911 GT3 RS? Well, today we're going to find out. My name's Matt Watson. Welcome to Carwow. Introduction done. Hook. Now, before getting into the drag race, they go into the setup. And the setup on every video is perfect. You didn't ask for it, but you get it. They tell you the engine, the size, the horsepower, the torque, the price, and how many wheel drive it is. Now, at the beginning, you might have only cared what won the drag race. But as they're going through the setup, you're now starting to make your own predictions what's going to win. You go, oh, well, the McLaren's all-wheel drive. The Porsche is only rear-wheel drive. The McLaren's 1.7 tons. The Porsche's only 1.4. So as they're doing the setup, you're becoming more invested in the payoff, not less. So some people might think this is just the boring part, but this isn't. This is you learning. And the reason that I now know that, a new Mercedes C63 has got a 4-cylinder 2-liter hybrid turbo is because I watched these videos. I didn't want to learn what engine was in the car. I wanted to know what was fucking quicker. But I've now learned as a byproduct of the entertainment, the education being intertwined. Then just before they get to the drag race taking part, boom, ad read. If you're thinking of buying and selling a car, head to carwow.com. So the ad is in the perfect place. They do it before the setup, people probably leave. They do it after the payoff, people have already gone. Then they do the drag race. And then just after the drag race, they then do a brake test and they do a rolling start from 30 miles an hour, whatever it is. They've repeated the exact same video hundreds of times. They've got 11 million subscribers on their YouTube channel. And they no doubt have grown the business to a massive scale. Same hook, same setup, same payoff, same principle, same thumbnail, same title for everything. And that is the perfect component of education, but also entertainment. The education in the setup, but then there's also idiosyncratic personalities, the people in the cars, the presenter, all of those things. Same with Matt Armstrong. They have that perfect combination of where education meets humor, or even at least entertainment in the sense that you're watching people, you're seeing people fix things, that transformative effect. Some people would look at that car and they wouldn't even just care about that car. They'd care about themselves having that car. So all those kind of different things we've spoken about, all kind of intertwined together. And that's what makes people, you're talking about knowledge and power. If you can make it entertaining, the pursuit of obtaining knowledge, if you can make that entertaining and interesting, people will feel drawn to it. I don't think that people enough are trying to combine the two.
Now, when you're thinking about creating the content, looking at that first 5-10 seconds and making sure that the right ingredients are there, how do you then correlate through to, I guess, conversion? Like how do you make sure your clients are better gearing themselves to make profit off the content they're making? And is there a difference between content that just gets views and content that converts?
Yeah, so I've learned a bit of this from a guy called Ed Lawrence, so I'll have to credit him.
Ed
Lawrence.
Yep.
YouTube, a guru. And I give him a lot of credit because I was actually going through a bit of a brand slump where I was like, am I a PT? Am I an entrepreneur? Like, I didn't know what I was doing. And he helped me with my YouTube. And by doubling down on my YouTube, I became better at everything else. And he put it perfectly best where he goes, you're using content to accrue goodwill. And you can't quantify goodwill. It's just there in the ether. And eventually, when you ask for a call to action, if you've accrued enough goodwill, they will do it. If you haven't accrued enough goodwill, they won't. Simple as. Now, it's quite hard to quantify subjective measures like goodwill. So a lot of what we're doing on content is to do that. Now, I think that some content should be based around views, like mainstream, and some shouldn't. And the best way to think about segmenting it is to segment it into content buckets. So Mr. Beast, for instance, does the same 7 videos over and over again. Last to leave, 24 hours in, cheapest versus most expensive, worst versus best, and a few others. Then they'll just change the one component. Last one to leave the private jet gets to keep it. Last one to leave the Lamborghini gets to keep it. Last one to leave whatever.
I didn't know we only had 7 buckets.
Yeah, if you go, or there might be a few more, it might be like 9. But if you go through, they're all the same repetition.
He kind of has like recipes, if you will.
Because he would almost be an idiot to go away from that. You know what I mean? So like, if those are working, why stop? Ed Lawrence, if you go look at his last videos, he's only been using like 5 different titles every single time. If everything, the podcast, you're actually doing the exact same thing, you're just changing the guest. So the studio stays the same, pacing, intro, ad reads, whatever. So many people think that every video needs to be original. If anything, I'm the only thing that changed from this video and the last one. So Mr. Beast just changes the jet for a Lamborghini. So everyone has these content buckets. Now, depending on where you are in your kind of brand journey, again, fucking hate it. Actually, let's use jiu-jitsu for this because fitness has got too much. So in jiu-jitsu, I would do 1 video on submissions, 1 video on passing, 1 video on what I would call pop culture. If someone gets submitted with something in a competition that gets everyone to go, oh, I want you reacting to that an hour after it happened. I want the video on YouTube. I want the title to be like, how did Joseph Chen get submitted by Barbosa so easily? Is this the first time the sub's ever been done? Something pop culture, because people that don't follow you will want to know. For instance, an example of this was when Liver King got popped by Derek from More Plates, More Dates. I'd said to people for ages, Liver King's on steroids. Everyone was like, whatever. I was in Bondi Junction. I see Derek's video go live. I watched it on 2 times speed and I ran home.
Can you just dive into this? Because I think a lot of people know that he got, I guess, roasted and rinsed out in the media, but not everyone fully understands the dynamics of what happened.
So Liver King built a big, like over $100 million empire of supplements based around liver, 10 ancestral sediments, etc. Said he was natural. It was very clear to anyone from the fitness industry he was on anabolics. He didn't even have godlike genetics. He was far beyond that. Then what was interesting was he made a sarcastic video where I think he had a cake and he had syringes in it, but the syringes were exactly the ones you would use to inject steroids. Like he literally had the blues and the greens. You have the greens to draw out, you have the blues that go in. So he had the perfect needles for steroids and the perfect plunges. And even where he said it was syrup, it looked a lot like testosterone. So there's like a few weird things there. So then an email gets leaked from someone who was working alongside. He was spending about $10,000 a month on growth hormone, peptides, steroids, anabolic steroids, etc. So I wanted vindication from that. So I knew the whole of YouTube was going to erupt. So I pretty much run back to my apartment in Bondi Junction, watched Derek's video, and I was like, I've got to make, it was 55 minutes long. I was like, I've got to make an 8-minute video of this. I've got to think of some banter. I've got to do whatever. So I get in, camera on, sit on my sofa. I do my own version of the news. I then know I can edit this and upload it probably within 15 minutes. So I could be 1 hour after Derek. That was at the time my most viewed YouTube video because I tapped into pop culture. At the time, doesn't matter if you follow me, doesn't matter if you care about me, doesn't matter about anything. If you've just seen the news and me and Derek are next to each other, mine's 8 minutes and his is 55.
I'm clicking on yours.
I'm going to be the condensed one. And I come out the gate firing, straight from, I think I had like 3 coffees. I was like, going out. I pretty much took all of the best bits from Derek's news. It's mine. Sorry, Derek. Derek I'm sure he's a great guy. He won't mind because once I invited him to do a podcast and he pretty much said like, where's your YouTube? And I was like, oh, it's here. It's just not very big. He was like, okay. And that was it. And then he cut me deep and deep down. I've now nearly got 500,000 subs, but we'll keep growing. Thanks, Derek. So you can have the Liver King video. Thanks for that. So that would be a bucket that I would say is like Gen Pop. So you've got to have something reactionary or something that people care about. So one of my biggest ones would have been Logan Paul's Prime. I actually did 3 videos on electrolytes that bombed. So I was like, fuck it. I'm taking the education bucket. I'm taking that topic. I'm bringing it over to pop culture and I'm using Prime as a victim for it. It was actually a video to explain what electrolytes are and why Prime wasn't such a good choice. Then one day I was in bed falling asleep to a podcast and then this podcast is brought to you by Athletic Greens. I was like, you cunts are getting it tomorrow. Sorry if you have to beep that. You fuckers are getting it tomorrow. So I bought some Athletic Greens, did an Athletic Greens video, did hundreds of thousands of views. So actually quite a lot of my main videos on YouTube are what I would call like pop culture, where fat shaming Piers Morgan on TV. I did Good Morning Britain. So they have those, but then I will intertwine those with other videos that get less views, but they might be higher converting videos where I win them over with Piers Morgan, or I win them over with Liver King, I win them over with Prime. But then when I'm doing another video on this topic that's a little bit more, orientated around my own products and services, people might be more inclined to buy. So people need to have different content buckets. So fitness could be muscle growth, fat loss, BS, pop culture. Matt Armstrong's interesting because his buckets are main channel, second channel, which sounds like a weird distinction, but main channel, story arcs, music, bigger setups, bigger payoffs. A lot of the channel 2 stuff is just filmed on iPhone. So even though he's got several million subscribers, although every video is getting over a few million views, some people just prefer an iPhone and just for it to be a bit more raw and over the shoulder and a bit more whatever. Another thing he's done very well on that, just to get on a tangent, his videos are all an hour long and they're retention edited. On his second channel, he bolts all of them together for a full build. So some of his videos are 7 to 8 hours long. He puts them on his second channel and they get more views because the average view duration is so extreme that YouTube will score it better than the original.
Wow.
So one of his builds is 7 hours long. I think it's an Aston Martin. It's got 19 million views. And he could put ad reads, every 8 minutes?
Wow.
So that's insane.
So you're saying that even though there are kind of common themes that would be a good recipe of what a good video should and shouldn't be, there are outliers where certain fan bases want things delivered different ways.
Yeah. I know some YouTube educators who film intentionally on a worse camera so that the person watching doesn't feel too disconnected from them as a mentor. So
they film on a worse camera.
Yeah, and he exports it in 1080p so that the kid who's watching, because I don't think his program is that expensive, the 16, 17-year-old that's watching is like, oh, this bro is running a business from a webcam.
Interesting.
So then if he goes to a full production, the kid's going to go, this guy's way too advanced for me.
Yeah.
So I think
that relatability.
So friends might send each other videos on iPhone. So then suddenly when they're watching YouTube on an iPhone, it doesn't feel like a cinematic production. So then it also makes the channel 1 videos seem more cinematic, more dramatic music, more setups. So we had to go to the south of France, like Clarkson back in the day, where the second one's like, welcome back to the second channel. And you'll watch 3 minutes of one of the lads struggle to get a wheel nut off. So there's all of these kind of different cadences and paces where people have it. And I would just say to people, they're different buckets. So even having a vlog could be one of your buckets. Adam Sullivan, his YouTube videos at the moment are very much personal brand. He actually puts his personal brand stuff on YouTube. Everything else is placed in short form content. So the way he's segmenting it, I said to him the other day, bro, he's got the ability to bring some of his fitness crowd over if he would just package the content right. So I'll probably do the idea before him. I need to go to Newcastle to get it. But I want to go get a 100-kilogram dumbbell, bring it to Bondi Beach and say, I'll give $1,000 to everyone that can pick it up and then sponsor that video with a TRT business I've invested into. Then I can banter people and be like, oh, you need to get your bloods checked. Talking of getting your bloods checked, head to checkyourbloods.com. So then if he was to put something like that could potentially get millions of views. And I know that because 2 other YouTubers have already done the video and it's got millions of views.
Yeah.
There's an outlier video, which we could call a bucket now, fighting strangers to prove jiu-jitsu works. Both or 3 videos have all done over 3 million views. It's such an irresistible title.
I'd immediately click on that.
There's one dude did it on Bondi Beach.
Yeah.
And then I could maybe ship a pallet of Nutonic to Bondi when it's there and be like, I'm here on Bondi Beach to fight strangers to prove jiu-jitsu works. We put up a big sign and be like, if you tap me out on the beach, you not only get a year's supply of Nutonic, I'll give you $1,000. Slap bump, boom. There's your introduction.
Real quick, I'm going to try the orange.
Okay.
I tried the blue. It immediately reminded me of like one of my favorite candies when I was a kid.
I'm keen to see how you go with the orange.
Yeah. So what's the difference in flavor between these two?
Blue raspberry,
Yeah.
orange.
Okay.
So we started off with our, what they call true to fruit.
True to fruit?
So we started off with tropical, citrus, and orange.
Okay, they're kind of like the popular ones that people want.
But this is where we realize how idiotic we are. I'll let you have the first sip, then I'll explain to you one of our biggest fumbles.
Oh, that's way more fruity, but like less sweet.
You like it?
I prefer this one than.
Told you it's polarizing.
I do like this one. Like I'm a huge fan, but if I had like an everyday, it'd be more like this.
Well, I'll send you some citrus. I'll get you sent some. And then we got strawberry lemonade. But So we've done about 4 or 5 million cans.
This is really good, by the way.
Biggest UK, USA at the moment. And we started hiring. And we took on this one hire, a weapon in the UK called James Cox. And he drops a bomb on us a year and a half in. He goes, oh, you do know the biggest selling drinks are unflavored? I went, what? He goes, yeah, you know, Coke isn't flavored. You know, Monster isn't flavored. White Monster doesn't have flavor. It's just White Monster. It's ultra. These Red Bull is unflavored.
Right. So they're not putting...
There's a flavor.
There's a flavor, but they're not putting things in to change the flavor.
Because if you say it's tropical, people, I don't like tropical. If you call it ultra, they can't go, I don't like ultra.
Oh, I never thought of that.
60% or more of all drink sales are unflavored. We've got 5 fucking flavors. I sit back and go, why did no one tell us this? And this guy's like, yeah, I thought you knew. I'm like, no, we didn't know.
He's like, it's common knowledge, man.
So we need to create a new tonic original.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do we do this? You know what I'm saying? It's idiots all the way up. I'm one of them. Like, I could not believe it.
How many years in were you when you had this revelation?
A year and a half.
Yeah.
75% so far. But what are we going to do now? Bring out an original. People go, what flavor is it? No, we should have just brought out new tonic. We could have just done one flavor.
Yeah.
Could have done great. And then we could have done another one. We could
have
just
just engineered it, man. Yeah.
Like, I know Monster have like a peach, but then they have a Lando Norris flavor. Lando Norris.
Yeah.
What's going on there? People, and even if I say to people, they drink a Coke Zero, I go, what flavor is that? What do you mean? Go drink it again. What flavor is it?
It is the flavor.
It is, exactly. So
now it's the flavor of a lolly, you know? So.
Oh, you know what you were saying before about call to actions on posts? Sometimes polarizing is a fantastic way to do it. So let's say I'm talking about the evidence surrounding aspartame that's in sweetened beverages. I'll just do a little side note, little look to camera. By the way, if you think Pepsi Max tastes better than Coke Zero, you should have a CT scan. Back to the video. You rile up all the Pepsi Maxers, but at the same time, the Coke Zero diehards come for you.
Yeah.
And I'll put a chat bot on that any comment gets a DM.
Okay. So let's try and like live create buckets here, if you will. I'll throw a few at you that I think exist, and then you can challenge them and change them. Cool. So there's maybe like high stakes, like there's something at risk, might be one of the thematics. Another one might be like there's a conflict, like there's 2 odds, or I'm challenging you, or I'm challenging the audience. There might be 2 of the mechanics of maybe more entertainment-based content. What might more of those mechanisms be?
So one of which is a visual hook, is a react.
A reaction, like watching you observe something?
Yes.
Yeah.
However, in 2021 worked really well. Now I don't want to watch someone. So I say to people now, if you want to react, have a hook statement, something counterintuitive, or just say something like, this is messed up. Then preview the reel that you're talking about full screen. Let me see it. Because I don't want to watch you and see 25%. I'm like, is that the reel I'm supposed to be watching that you react to? Then don't let them talk too long. Then give me you again. So show them a preview where someone goes, if you eat tomatoes, you will die young. Get back to it. But this isn't true, is it? Let's listen to what they say. Back in blah, blah, blah. And then you can jump between something you're reacting to and bring the facts to the person. Explain why it's not true. Come with evidence. Come with studies. So you've got like react reels. Those ones do very well because it's conflict, like you say. So people have those conflicts. Then we've got people that can come out stating a problem or that something isn't true. Then another type of content I love is an analogy.
So maybe the other ones like myths or myth busting, reactions, and then...
So the props and analogies work really well.
Yes.
Because people love to have a visual example. The reason that most good communicators will jump straight to an example of something. So something's great. If you're there in front of, say, 7 props, and you say something like, you are wrong with how you approach fat loss, and using these, I'm going to explain it. Now, straight away, we have curiosity that's been driven.
I want to see how you link them together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So those are pretty good because even though it's a hook and it's a bit of a setup, you're building a lot of curiosity. But if you bore them at any point, they're gone. There's another thing some people do at the moment where you could call it like a flow state action, where someone says something to you, which could be a statement, a question, counterintuitive or whatever, but they will do a task that is a bit ordinary, but not ordinary. For instance, they might chop fruit as they're saying it.
Oh, I've seen Alex like cooking while he's teaching.
Yeah, people are like trying to figure out what's going on. Like if someone's just sat there like staring down the camera with perfect lighting, you have been lied to about mortgage rates. People are like, oh, I'm just being sold to.
Right.
But if someone's there like chopping a pineapple going, everything you know about mortgage rates is actually wrong. Chop, scene change, as they're then getting the pineapple out. People are like, oh, what's going on here? Curious. You know, like if anything's happening a little bit unordinary around you, you can't help but look.
I've seen Layla Hormozi's doing a lot of this. Like she was doing her makeup while talking, candidly. Cody Sanchez has been making a lot of like skits and things like that. So you're saying that maybe people need to get a little bit more dynamic with their content now.
The only place it doesn't work is in the car. It's lazy. I've tried it before. People love their car because it's the safest space they have. You get in your car, you lock the doors, you've got your own office. You've spent hours in there on your own. You know the seats, you know everything around. You can see a 360 view. No one can see you. No one can hear you. If you screamed, barely anyone would hear it. It's one of the only places you can express yourself. Also, you probably have better conversations with people on a drive than you would set opposite each other. So that's where some of us use these kind of automotive pathways. Daniel Kahneman in the book Thinking Fast and Slow spoke about how you've got like a system 1, system 2. And I can't remember who said it, but there's a famous quote that no good idea was ever thought of not walking. Sometimes we need to be doing something. Getting good ideas driving, or even better yet, most of my ideas come in the shower. The shower is one of the only places where I'm completely disconnected from technology, and all I've got to do is just wash myself. And my missus, my fiance, she'll be like, James, I had an idea, because there'll be water trailing through the whole house. I'll be naked, like by my desk. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I've got an idea for a video. She's like, fucking get a towel, dry yourself. I'm like, I couldn't, because looking for the towel, I might have lost the idea. There's probably the ADHD side of it. So there are some places that people go to ideate. I know a lot of us probably do it whilst driving. And then you get your like dictate feature on, you're like rambling away to ChatGPT, sometimes give it like a 12-minute voice note. Now summarize that in a PDF and save it for later.
Yeah, I find I get my ideas on my walk to and from work because I have a 20-minute walk each way up and down the hill. And my missus, she'll, ring me at the end of the day and say, like, do you want me to come pick you up? Like, I'm swinging by getting the kids. And I'm always like, no.
I need the time.
I need my 20-minute walk. And
so there's that conversion between what we have in real life, but then in social media content.
Yeah.
So by doing your makeup,
it's like you're defragging your day and pulling ideas.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Then that really helps some people, or they're just trying to figure out what's going on. Some people do content like cleaning up, and people are seeing someone in their flow state, and also they don't look awkward. So I used to find as well when I went on dates, if I just sat there, I didn't really know what to do. I could talk, but I didn't know what to do. But if we went for a walk, I know how to walk. We go get an ice cream. I know how to eat an ice cream. But I felt more comfortable on the move than I did sitting still.
So do you think the viewer has a different experience watching you do something?
Especially if you look stiff.
Okay.
So if someone's nervous on a first date, you can tell.
Yeah.
There's no way of hiding it. But if you're pretty good at chopping fruit, you're black belt at chopping pineapples. It doesn't matter what you say. They're like, this person's comfortable. But also it just gives that element of curiosity to what's happening. Not where, you've got to do something crazy or whatever, but it's just, I'm watching someone chop fruit. They're talking about interest rates. What's going on?
Okay.
Rather than, very serious down the barrel piece to camera content. And people should play around with that. They should play around with different areas in the house, different rooms. As long as the audio is good, try different things out and then A/B split test them. Even little things. You'll watch some good content creators sit into shot as they explain something. So it feels like they've just arrived. It's like an arrival technique where they go, you may not have known that. And for some reason, watching someone sit down, they're like, oh, what just happened there? Rather than the video starting, you're wrong about interest rates. It just makes it feel a bit more like you sat down with your friend, like, oh, so how's your weekend been? It's trying to mimic those things from everyday life and bring them into content.
So if you think about someone's watching something and they're seeing some kind of visual stimuli, whether it be a prop or you sit down or anything but being in their car, like chopping a pineapple. What do you think that adds to the entertainment component? Because obviously people probably think to themselves the most important part of the video is the educational exchange, but you're saying actually the experience of absorbing the video is maybe more important.
I would say, imagine 10 people love you, minus 10 they hate you. You don't start on 0, you start on -2. And every video, people are waiting for an opportunity to leave. So by doing these things, you are just delaying that person's opportunity to leave because they just want a bit of clarity before they go. So people aren't ever giving you the opportunity. Really, it's like a pitch. Imagine if you were interviewing people for a job, but there's a button in front of you and you press it, they just disappear. People would probably get rid of candidates 3 minutes in. The only reason they don't is because they want to be polite. Like the fact, beep, see you later, next one, beep, people, in real life, people are ruthless. They just probably because they're sat around other colleagues. They're like, oh, we can't just send her out. It'd be rude. But if you watch people on social media, if you watch yourself, I challenge anyone that's on social media, when you're in bed at night, watch how ruthless you are at who you give time to and why. You're what, 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 what. If you could see yourself and realize everyone's exactly the same, we are just waiting for one person to do that little bit extra effort to give us that one thing to be that, oh, that's interesting. And you're almost waiting for that finger. It's like a finger on the trigger. Oh. And then they disarm. YouTube's a bit easier because YouTube, they've got the remote in their hand. Click, 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 watch it. And the first 10 seconds, they're judging you. On short form, I think it's more 2 seconds. But on YouTube, you're like, oh, it's a good introduction. And then the remote comes down. Your thing on YouTube is almost to get them to stop pointing the remote to the TV.
Yeah.
And if they're on mobile, it's to get them to put the phone down. I used to date a Norwegian, and she used to say to me, the direct translation was, we go to the countryside to let our shoulders down. She would go, we just let our shoulders down, we go to relax. But I see that in content now. I'm like, what could we do to get some? The second they put their phone down, they made a decision, they're engaging, they're watching this now, shoulders go down. I'm watching this now. Unless this now gets boring or stops delivering on what I want from it, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to absorb it. That's where I think YouTube is going to be better than short form for a lot of things. But short form still has so many benefits because we spoke about the importance of the feedback you get from eating shit. If you do YouTube, you get so many less pieces of feedback and you've got to put so much into the machine. So let's imagine YouTube is like playing blackjack, minimums of $50 at the table, whereas short form is like playing $1 on a slot. You can start to learn the machine so much better when there's only $1 being lost at a time and you've got so many more plays. Whereas YouTube's where you've got the high rollers, where the wins, they're much bigger if you win. But the losses are devastating and sometimes you're just 4 bad hands away from giving up.
Now, if someone were to commit to posting, let's say 100 videos and they were like, okay, happy to be a white belt, I'm going to earn my little blue belt. I'm going to go on that journey and repetitiously post content with those little dollar slots every single day for 100 days. What will it actually teach someone about themselves as they go on this journey?
There's a lot. Again, I hate to do this, draw it back to fitness. We give people arbitrary things in fitness. So for instance, we go 10,000 steps a day. And people go, why? And you're like, well, I actually just need to give you something every day. Because if you do this 3 days a week, you're not even doing it fucking part-time. If you come to the gym 3 days a week, you're not even training every other day. You're training less than half the week. It's part-time. If I get you to train 5 days a week, you'd be fucked. So we need to give someone something to do every day. Same with meditation. If I go meditate 4 days a week, you're never doing it. If I say you need to meditate every day, you probably stick to it. So the content, the 100 days, 100 pieces of content is actually need to change your identity from a business owner or a personal trainer or an accountant to also being a content creator. And that identity shift comes from you doing that every single day. So you then carve out parts of your routine, your habits, also that ideation process. It's 9 p.m. at night, you're going to bed at 9:30. You've got half an hour to think of an idea for tomorrow. Get to work, stop scrolling, do that. It's almost as much an identity change. The person doing 10,000 steps a day is now an active person. They've got no choice. And it's through being an active person that they benefit the equation. And also they say, well, the more you practice, the luckier you get. I'd say the same with content. In that 100 days, you're going to have one video you're convinced is going to do well and it's going to fucking bomb. Then you're going to have one video that you think is a complete pile of shit and you don't want to post it. And you go, fuck, I just need to post it. Otherwise I've got nothing else to post today and does better than all your other videos. It's only through doing that you realize it's almost like a Dunning-Kruger effect. Everything you think you know about content is going to get stripped away from you over the next 100 days. And you're going to finish 100 days actually knowing less than you did when you began. And you're going to go, well, fuck, to find out the answer to this, I'm actually probably going to have to do 1,000 posts. Then by the time you're 850 posts, people are like, oh, bro, that's looking great. Oh, I love that video. And you're like, shut up. I've got to get to 1,000. And when you get to 1,000, you couldn't imagine a life without posting every day. Like even for me now, if I've not done today, chances of me putting out any content pretty small. I'll just put something on LinkedIn just to scratch that little itch in my head. And I'll just put something out there to piss people off. Be like, I'll say something like, if something's too expensive, just earn double and it's half price. And then people just put something that I know is going to rile people up. Or to quote Alex Hormozy, just buy something for 8 million that's worth 10 and sell it for 10. Cheers, mate.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't figure that out myself.
But it's just something. Even if it's just a story post, I'll put something on as a lead capture. I'll put a quiz out somewhere. I'll put even a calorie calculator that's fucking 6 years old. There'll be some attempt every day. What I can't stand someone having a day off, I can stand a subpar post. But if someone was like, oh, I didn't hit my 10,000 steps today, what'd you do? 7,000, fine. If you did 1,000, I'd be like, bro, you weren't even close. You weren't even fucking close. And someone says, oh, I've got to screenshot a fucking tweet. Will it do well? Will it get you clients? Probably not. But will it pay into your identity change of putting out more content? Absolutely.
Now, if you think about the person who's going to start making content, how important is it for someone, let's say, who's an accountant or whatever career now decides to make content? How important is it then for them to observe other content creators?
100%. So let's say an accountant, I could straight away say, Josh Thomas in the UK, an account called Accountant She, which I thought was great. It's a woman. And the way she's put she at the end of accountant to be accountancy, smart. But Josh Thomas is wearing a 3-piece suit and he's talking like, can you write off a Ferrari through the business? Let's look at the numbers. And great hook, right? He even did a video on my GT3 and was like, James Smith, is he writing this off through the business? Let's get into it. I'm not even in the same country as him, but he's doing it anyway. Whereas Accountant she's very much more formal, phone, sitting down at the desk. Okay, HMRC are bringing in some new rules. Let's look into it. Great hook. And then she just explains to her camera. She gets away with looking down to the camera. And where with a dude, I wouldn't recommend he does that. He needs something at eyesight. He needs to present, do whatever. But I feel for her, she's probably got an audience of women, girl power, whatever. Love this, boss bitch, teaching me about accountancy, love that. Whereas he needs to he's quite young, Josh Thomas Accounting, where he's in his 20s wearing a 3-piece. He's actually trying to fit in with the 30 and 40-year-olds. His perfect audience will have black Amex cards. So I can see what he's doing. So you look at those two and you go, okay, I'm going to get a videographer for the day. I'm going to put on something nice. I'm going to try Josh Thomas. But then also this next week, I'm going to do 5 posts like Accountant She. I'm going to see which one does best. Then maybe both videos, one video from each does well, but only the ones you talk about corp tax. You go, okay, what are the 5 biggest misconceptions about corp tax? They're going to be 5. And then what are 5 things that everyone knows about corp tax, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. Then often this is another thing that people have where an accountant will say something to me, be like, oh yeah, the revenue came for them. I'll go, sorry, who's that? Oh, HMRC. I'm like, I've never heard them called the revenue before. Really? I'm like, you have, because you're a fucking accountant. I'm not. I didn't even know what tax was till about 6 years ago. So then they have to almost dumb down their content a bit because they will say things like, yeah, and corp tax, that's an extra 25%. And I'm like, whoa, do people understand what corp tax is? And of course they do. I'm like, no. Pyramid attribution, your client knows, other people don't. So they'll go through and say, did you know businesses pay tax before on all profits, blah, blah, blah. So then you could even say, that's why some businesses spend loads of money before the end of tax end because they have to give money to the government. They might as well invest it. And then you'd be like, well, is that a good strategy? Well, there we need to look into 2 more things. If the company's making less profit, you have less money, blah, 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 blah. People go, fuck, I never knew that. The accountants are watching it going, everyone knows that, but they watch it anyway because they want to make sure she doesn't fuck up. So there's, that's what they do. Yeah. It's like, let's say I was doing a video on email marketing. Even being a whiz in email marketing, you go, let's see what this fucker's got to say. Let's see if we align. But then the people that don't know anything about email marketing are listening because they're learning about email marketing. The algorithm goes, well, expert loved it, a novice loved it. Let's show it to more people. So looking at other people, seeing what worked well, what didn't. Josh Thomas, who's probably like 100,000 followers now. I was doing a one-to-one with a client. I scrolled for 5 minutes through all of his old videos. Go back, there's webcam stuff. I went, this is just a motherfucker that didn't give up. He went from polo shirt to suit to 3-piece. And his content went from webcam to iPhone to professional mic to DSLR. So you can watch the journeys. And I'm like, this bro isn't better than you. He's just further ahead. That's all it is. He's just done way more reps than you. You go to Kayla Itsinas, the fitness sweat app. She's got like 11,000 Instagram posts. So people are like, oh, she got a big following. I'm like, 11,000 Instagram posts. I've done 4,500. People go, oh yeah. Go, let's break that down for a second. If I did a post every day, that's 365. If I did a post every day for 10 years, that's 3,600. So I've done more than one post a day for 10 years. And people are like, oh, I mean, look at it like that. And like, oh shit, it's a reps game. Most people doing very well have done over 1,000 posts, which is a post a day for 3 years. And that's enough to get out of white belt territory. You're halfway into blue belt then.
Now, it sounds like there is a concept around detachment here as well, not attaching yourself too hard to the outcome too early. What role does detachment play in being a good content creator?
Again, I'm going to use jiu-jitsu. I do apologize.
That's okay, man. It's a great reference.
So like someone's a white belt, they go, I suck. What can I work on? I go 4 times a week. And they're like, yeah, but what about my subs? I'm like, just go 4 times a week. What about my passing? I'm like, just go 4 times a week. Because there are so many times when I was going to jiu-jitsu where I was like, I really can't be fucked today. I really can't be fucked. And I was like, I'm just going to go. And then I'd go and we'd start the class and I'd go, I never knew that technique. That's what the fucking purple belts have been tapping me with. Now I know it. So I come home and go, thank fuck I went today. And it wasn't the technique I was grateful for. It was that I went. It was that I turned up. So there are so many people that set talking to a girl and getting a number and going on a date and falling in love. I'm like, bro, if you can just give a girl your number, you've won. You've done what most men were not comfortable enough to do today. You put a piece of content out today. The second you press post on Instagram and it fully posts, you've done so much more than most people are willing to do today. You should take a pat on the back. The time you film your first podcast, you write your first email marketing email. The second you hit send, you've won. So much for me. For instance, tonight, I'll probably get home, write an email marketing email. When I hit send, I close the laptop and it is what it is. Hopefully we get some sales. Maybe we don't, whatever. I'm just proud of the fact that after doing probably a 3-hour podcast and a whole day with my business partner, who's semi on the spectrum, that I still had the energy to put out an email marketing email. For me, the success is in the attempt way more than the outcome. And there's a saying, the man who loves to walk walks further than the man that loves a destination. Alex said that, but he stole it from another guy who I also stole it from, and I put it in a book before him. All right. So I stole it first.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's
What's that the Churchillian drift? Have you heard of that?
No.
I think there's a concept that most people quotes back to Churchill, even though they're not his quotes, because it's like people don't know who to quote, so they just throw Churchill in there.
Fantastic.
Yeah. When you think about the repetitious nature of content creation and the lessons that come with it, what do you think is the upside of the winning of the putting it out there, right? Like it's better to be a man who's obsessed with walking than the destination. Like what energy comes from the consistency?
I like to tell people that content is like a digital asset and you can work on that asset for an hour, 10 hours. You can maybe create that asset over a month if you want to. Depends on how much you want to. You have a place, you can just float it and potentially it can get accessed by fucking millions of people when you wake up. Some will do bad, some will do good, whatever. Before the internet, you had like publishing, you had like press, you had billboards, signage. Like never have you had such an opportunity that you can just press a plus button on your phone, chat for a minute, and you can potentially get 1 million people to see it. People should be so excited about this. They should be so excited. Now, if that asset goes off and doesn't do that well, you get unlimited attempts for free. This is wild. Can you imagine going back like 50 years and someone being like, yeah, anything you give us, we'll just put it in the paper. How much is it? I'll just do it for free. What paper? A goes in all of them. Does it have to be good? Nah. But if it is good, you'll get loads of sales. And so people, and many users? Oh yeah, billions. Cool. Any language? They've now got it dubbed, so it will go to Spanish and Chinese people and they'll be able to see it in their own language with AI, sound. Like what's the upside? Oh, you could potentially hire loads of people, retire your family and make millions. And the compounding interest of it, people get really excited about ETFs and stocks and shares and saving. They're like, basically if you, because think about investing, right? You eat shit for 10 years, right? You put in $1. At the end of the year, you got like $1.1. Then they're like, you put in 100K. By the end of the year, you've got like 110K. But in 30, 40 years time, you've got loads of money. Hey mate, if you pay into the stock market of posting content, in a year, you got 10 clients. In 3 years, you're fucked and you need to hire people. In 10 years, you have an empire. So I just don't understand. Obviously, there's going to be survivorship bias here where it worked for me, so therefore I preach it. And I'll tell you something that's quite interesting. I felt like a bit of a fraud for the first 9 months of running a mentorship. I would say I had maybe one person who did well. I'm talking out of like 800 to 1,000 people. Now, when it got to that point, I had a dip in confidence where I was genuine, and I don't have to tell people this, but I will. I was like, am I really that good at what I do? I got to a point where I was like, survivorship bias. I've created a system that works for me and it's not working for anyone else. And after 9 months, people's results started popping off. A year and a half in, my results were great to the point that my post your win section on my Discord, I can't even believe that I've helped him. I look at it, I'm like, that's great. I'm like, that's better than me. This golf instructor just done more than me today, the little bastard. But I now come to realize that the approach that I teach people is a slow burning approach. It actually takes about 9 months for these things to kick off. But then you think 9 months is a long time. If we look back at the ETFs and the investments, those compound over decades. They're like, oh yeah, the stock market always bounces back as long as you're willing to not touch it for 20 years. 20 years. 20 years. Give me 20 weeks, brother, and we'll get you 10 clients. So I would just wish people could be more excited about the prospect of it. And the internet's a weird place. Some people are going to chat shit about you, leave comments and be whatever. Ed Lawrence, the YouTuber I had before, I did some one-to-ones with him. And I'll never forget, he was more like my therapist, right? I'd come on with him. I'd be like, oh, got nothing, no ideas, mate. He goes, oh, goes through my videos, goes, this one did well. Just do that one better. What? He's like, I was like, why? He's like, well, it's done the best out of all your videos. Why wouldn't you do it again? Fucking hell, cheers, mate. That beauty of the call. But I'll never forget one call. I said to him, mate, this one video I'm getting so much hate on. He goes, good. What do you mean good? He goes, that's great. I go, what do you mean? He goes, it's gone to a cold audience. He goes, that's a good sign. He goes, if you're not getting bad comments, YouTube hasn't shown it to new people.
That's interesting. So you're saying that the more hate you get, the more cold the audience is.
Within reason.
Yes.
But the video was performing better than all the other videos. I was looking at the hate. He was looking at the new algorithm it had gone to. In essence, YouTube had pushed it to a lookalike audience where, of course, they're going to be less favorable of anything you say or do. Again, remember we always start at -2? So I got that from polo, by the way. When you play polo, the highest handicap you can get in the world is 10. When you start, you're a -2. Do you know that?
I didn't know that.
So four-a-side polo, they swap ends after each goal, a bit like cricket and overs with the weather conditions. You're playing chukkers, which is 7 minutes. I used to work in polo. It's a bit of fun for you. And it's a right-handed sport. You can't play left-handed.
Really?
Because of the rules.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's your little, you start at -2. Then if you have a 10-goal tournament, you get to determine what makes up 10 goals. So you could have a 5-goal, a 5-goal, a 0-goal, a 0-goal. But the other team might have a 5-goal, a 5-goal, a 2-goal, and a -2 goal. Then if you're over or under by 1 point, you start, say you're a 9-goal team playing a 10-goal team, you start with a half-point advantage. So by the time you're a 4-goal, you could play professionally. There's not many 10-goalers in the world. I've seen a 9-goal player once, Argentinian, and galloping, he hit a ball on a volley. This ball must have traveled 80 meters towards him, and he wicked it with a little mallet on a volley. These 10-goalers are millionaires.
Jeez,
they are like the Formula One drivers of polo.
Yeah.
So, yeah, my sister works in polo. So I used to go along when I was a kid for, what did I get? $12 an hour. I used to stand behind the goal and wave a flag when they scored. That was my first job.
It's a pretty good gig.
I think I was like 12, 13 years old.
Yeah.
I would just stand in a field waving a flag if a ball went through 2 bits of wood. That was it. So, yeah.
It's a good gig, man.
Learned a bit about polo.
My first job was a trolley boy, collecting trolleys.
Okay. There's an interesting psychological phenomenon with trolleys where they go, it's one of the tests of temperament again to whether or not you return it. Because there's no penalty to not put your trolley back. There's like, I'm pretty sure like philosophers, not philosophers, but psychologists or whatever, they sit there and go, you can tell a lot about a man by what he does with a trolley. No one is watching him. He gets no reward for putting it back. He gets no penalty for leaving it out. What does the man do? And because, you know, making your bed is shit, but you get to get into a made bed in the evening.
Yeah.
But the trolley debacle, I'm pretty sure it's called like the trolley conundrum or the trolley problem. The trolley problem.
Have you seen there's a channel on YouTube called Cart Narcs. This guy travels around the country and he tries to find people in the midst of not putting their trolley back. And he films himself confronting them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's fantastic. You would love it.
There's, or this is interesting. Ray say filming people. There's a guy who I'm working with at the moment who's a dating coach, and he cold approaches girls in Sydney wearing Meta glasses. And so he's got a wife. I'm pretty sure he's like engaged, whatever. But he shows people how you do it. But then he gets his clients to wear Meta glasses and they're on a video call. So as he's looking around, he sees the girls. He's like, go up, and he's talking to them in his ear. So he's like, girl in the red dress, go over, introduce yourself.
That's diabolical,
so
dude.
He dates them. Yeah. He coaches them in real life, talking and prospecting with girls. And I was like, there's actually such a need for this, where I think there are so many women out there that genuinely just want to be spoken to. They don't want the father of their children to be someone they swiped. They want something chivalrous. They want someone meaningful, someone to go, your father came up to me in Embankment and told me I look beautiful. And now we've got 4 children together. So when this guy started working with me, I was like, bro, I am in love with what you do. How would you get away with filming people and putting it on YouTube, brother?
That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I was like, is the legality of this? Apparently he's got some lawyers to look at it. But yeah, Meta glasses, just be careful what you're saying out there.
If you think about, I get approached by a lot of people, you know, I've done a keynote or what have you, and people come up to me and they say, hey, loved your keynote, but I can't make content because what I do is boring or what have you. When you see these cases of people that are kind of like stuck, maybe in industries they don't think they can be interesting in, or they don't think that they can have entertainment in, like people in finance, what have you, what's been the most obscure example you've seen work from someone who doesn't feel like their industry could be turned into content?
I've thought of someone, I'm apologize to him for not knowing his name. There's a guy in the UK and he speaks like a bit of a roadman. So have you seen Top Boy?
No.
They're like, listen, bruv, getting that peas, yeah, calm, say less, bless cars. They talk like that. People in London, they have like their own language. So there's a guy who speaks like a bit of a roadman, but he teaches like chemistry. So he's like, yeah, bruv, we got some magnesium here in it. We're going to spark that up. And like, he's actually teaching like high level chemistry and chemical reactions and scientific lessons. But he's like a bit of a roadman doing it. So again, you've got that kind of hook where you're like, is this guy from the ends? It's like your equivalent, like an Eshe, right?
Yeah.
Imagine you got an Eshe, he's like, Eshe, cuz, you know, West Town, Bankstown for life, cuz. We got some mercury here. We're going to mix it in with some ascorbic acid and we're going to see like it would be that. But this guy does it and he's getting like brand deals and stuff because people relate to him. They're like, most scientists are so scholarly and like, oh yeah, so if you get the potassium chloride and mix it in here. But this guy is just like a real guy. So one of his, when I see his TikToks come up, I'm like, that's great. Again, like you say, Terry the Tiler. There's a guy out there who's got millions of followers tiling. Tell you who one of my favorite is would be the site inspector on TikTok, non-compliant. You seen this guy?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Mate,
guy. Yeah.
the guy has ruined my confidence in building. Like, want to go to a new build, don't want to touch it. Not unless I know the builders firsthand. But the way that he's carved an online brand out of building inspections. Imagine me coming up here a few years ago, be like, mate, I've got this guy. He inspects buildings. He's going to wear a GoPro on his chest. Want to invest? But mate, I'm not sure if this one's for me. But again, entertainment, non-compliant. Also the interactions he has with people, but it's also educational. You're getting to learn that box cutter rain pour off at the side of the building needs to be 33 millimeters from that intrusion point. So you're even learning about building codes, non-compliant, New South Wales, building regulations, that, you know, that's the wrong bolt, that's the wrong rivet. I'm not even a builder. I'm learning about tiling. I'm learning about compliancy of New South Wales roofs. So again, there's these brands that have got this like obscure content, but I can't help but watch. My missus comes home. She's like, what are you watching? And I was like, I'm looking at a new build in Victoria that's non-compliant. I want to see this guy get stripped of his building regulations. You're like, how have I ended up here? I don't know. But he's another personal brand that's kind of crushing it. These kind of weird but unique and brilliant. I don't think anyone will be able to copy that.
Do you think that these cases are planned, or do you think they happen accidentally through like kind of haphazardly testing things?
I think people just go, I could do that. I think that's just the attitude. Or better yet, some people just do it as like a little hobby. So it's like a little like, so imagine this. Some people buy Bitcoin. They've got no certainty with Bitcoin. Really? Do you have any Bitcoin?
No. Oh, no. I bought one and I can't find it.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. Actually, I actually have I don't know what one Bitcoin's worth, but I have one somewhere.
Probably about 200K, I think.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So like people buy Bitcoin, they don't really know where it's going to go.
Yeah.
But I would say to people, hopefully the people that invest into those, it's a slush fund where if it goes up, sweet. If it goes down, don't care.
Yeah. I bought one in like 2013 because I was like, just cause.
Cool.
You know, yeah.
Perfect. So then content, some people is like, oh, just put some content out, see what happens. So for the building inspector, site inspector, he might have gone, oh, do you know what? I'm just going to film some of these builds. I'm going to chop it up. I'm going to put it on YouTube, see what people think. For him, it wasn't something that was essential for him. It was just something that he'd done. So for that, I loved. There was a guy on YouTube, an old guy that filmed all of his fishing trips. And he had, I think, like 17 subscribers and like 500 videos. And someone on TikTok found him, made a TikTok, and it was just a sweet old man who was just recording all of his fishing trips on his boat, was talking through people, angling advice. He was getting like 3 views, 1 views. Some of his videos had no views. So this someone on TikTok was like, let's make this guy famous. I looked at the video, it had like 400,000 likes on the video on TikTok. I go to his account. He's got hundreds of thousands of subscribers now. His channel is booming. Someone had seen this old boy who was just, he wasn't there like trying to be an influencer. He was just loving life and sharing his fishing experiences with YouTube. And at the time, no one was watching. Now there are loads of people watching because there's almost like a little passion in the craft of just showing people what you're doing. Same way that, you know, even my barber, I say to him, I want you to go more granular. You can show before and after of a haircut, but people have had that. I said, I want you to start educating people on what haircuts you get for your level of balding, your level of head shape, your work parameters, whether or not you want to do this, do this. You know, actually have some fun with it. Be like, if you're going a bit thin on top, maybe try a crew cut. If you're going thin on top, did you know that the longer your hair is, the more it makes you look balding? Did you know that receding is completely normal? You know, there are so many elements of education you can have there. And I said, another thing I want you to do as a barber is just record conversations you have with people. Because I said, if you knew that this could potentially make a clip, there could be so many more meaningful things that you could ask people. People come in, you could be like, what are you most grateful for this week? And they might say something so obscure that could really warm the hearts of loads of people. You know, someone might go, I watched something on TikTok where I should call my parents every night. And I started doing it. And a year later, my mum had a heart attack. And the night before, I got to have the best phone call with her ever. I'm like, fucking hell, mate. You know, this is the best clip ever. There are so many things where even if that barber was just making conversation with someone, there could be a clip there that could get millions of people talking to their parents more. So for me, he wasn't doing it to get famous. He wasn't doing it to get barbershop bookings. He was doing it because he already had the art and the craft there. He wanted to showcase these conversations with the world. I even said to my barber, I go, you know, you have 10 podcasts a day or 20 podcasts a day. He goes, what do you mean? I was like, well, your client's here for like 45 minutes. You just nonstop talk to them all the time. And I go, if I said, if you look at your haircuts, there's many podcasts. Cool. I said, how many have you released? He goes, none. How many have you recorded? He goes, thousands. And I was like, if your clients were happy and complicit, it'd be great. You know, I said to him, you're not going to get compounding returns of you're doing all the work. I said, you just need a camera to record. That's it. Then you have the opportunity where you can even put that into Opus Pro and it could clip it up for you. So
how many people do you think genuinely right now are in a career, run a business that if they just had a camera on them, they could compound what they could earn?
Yeah, I definitely think that you will outmaneuver. I'm not going to say this too badly, but in the onset, let's say, so that I don't put you guys out of business. You can
I stop you here? I want the unfiltered version of what you're about to say.
You will care more about your brand than any agency. You are the biggest driver, biggest caretaker. You are the biggest impact that could possibly ever happen to your brand. You cannot pay other people to do that for you. You can pay other people to help you. You can pay other people as a catalyst, but no one cares about what you are doing anywhere near how much you care.
I agree emphatically because we oftentimes get people inquiring, like we predominantly focus on corporate branding. Maybe 20% of our portfolio is like personal brands. But when people ask me the question, how do I have someone else build my personal brands or corporate brands in a way where I don't have to do too much? I almost turn white because I'm having a moment where I'm like, that's not possible. Like you have to be physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally like involved if you want to have a chance at growing a creator account. Why is it that significant level of investment is needed to win at this game?
Because no one else will come and do it for you. That's the simplicity of it. No one else will because they're too bothered about their own stuff. And that's okay. And ultimately, sounds kind of harsh to say it, if you're not going to turn up for yourself, your business, your brand, your profession, your ambitions, your dreams, all those things, no one is. And if you're okay with that, I applaud you. And in some respects, I'm jealous of you because I would say the world's probably split into two categories. People that don't really care that much, and that's not a dig because I sometimes genuinely get jealous of these people. I remember I had this super wealthy, successful client. He always went on about his mate who lived in a place called Worthing with his dog. He goes, he's got nothing. He goes, but he's so happy. And the guy who had everything was miserable. And I sometimes think to myself, if you don't care, what a blessing. And I wish you the best. Enjoy your life. And these people that don't care, they get to go, because sometimes in the entrepreneurial space, we can sometimes end up shitting a bit on the 9 to 5s. And I did in the onset when I discovered the new life of being self-employed. But now I look at people. We're in North Sydney. We go outside now. We're going to see people leaving work at 5 p.m. They don't give a fuck until 9 a.m. tomorrow. Someone could die in the office. They go, I'll read about it at 9 a.m. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Friday, when they leave the office, oh, the office burned down. We'll talk about this on Monday morning. Those people live your lives because I see them on holiday and they're having a better time than me. But for the other people such as ourselves, the ones that have created a mental illness that they can't escape, that looks after the people around them, those people, if you don't do it, no one else will. And no one's going to be able to do a good enough job that you. So if you care, you need to do it. If you don't care, fair play.
Okay. Now, for those that don't feel that they have the ability to discover what viral content that might exist for them, however, they're wanting to go and proactively create something, how does someone ethically perhaps take from others and remix it for themselves?
Yeah, so the way I see it, I do like to guilt trip people a bit. There was a person at an event I did recently. I think she was like a podiatrist. It was about feet, right? She was you don't need inserts. You can do whatever. And I was asking her about the amount of content she was putting out. And she didn't really do that much. It wasn't that proactive. But I didn't say you need to get viral. I go, think of all the fucking people that need your help that aren't getting it. I was like, think of all the fucking people that could really do with your advice. And you're just not fucking putting it out there. You're letting them get swindled by some other people selling inserts. I was like, come on, fucking turn up for them. If you're not going to do it for yourself, do it for them. So then people are like, oh, do you know what? I should. Or like some people go, oh, I want to put out menopausal content. I'm like, women are struggling right now and they need your video and you haven't fucking filmed it. I'm like, when are you going to turn up for women? You know, I get it, but you can do all your feminism stuff, whatever. But every day you don't make this video that you told me so important. You're kind of letting down the team, don't you think? So I do like to guilt it a little bit. But then the next thing we need to do is we need to make, let's say we've got Sandra who knows a lot about menopause, hasn't put any content out. We need to go, Sandra, for a second, let's remove you. Don't care about you, your business, your brand. Let's think about those thousands of women that you want to help. If you put out a shit video, we're both going to do them a disservice. We need to do something crackers, something amazing. So let's go look at the best videos ever and let's understand why they did well. Maybe it's the title, maybe it's the thumbnail, maybe it's the concept. Be careful it's not too old because a thumbnail 4 years ago might have done well, but it wouldn't do now. Cool. Now we're going to look at the first thing they say in the video and we're probably going to copy all the comments and find out what people got from that video. Now we've got the skeletal structure of what's going to impact and benefit loads of lives. And most films have got the same, like no one watched Finding Nemo, then watched Taken and went, same film. You go, what do you mean? You're like, well, kid got lost, kidnapped, father goes and gets it. Taken and Finding Nemo are the same film. So, like no one's bothered because you've made it differently, right?
Yeah.
Even in our generation, we've had 3 Batmans. We've had 3 Spider-Mans. So no one's like, oh, another Spider-Man. They just put them all in the last film. So people aren't annoyed to see different as long as it's different. Or people aren't afraid to see the same as long as it's a little bit different. And the reason that people watch all the Batmans and all the Spider-Mans is because of how it makes them feel. So there could be someone out there that watched an old menopause video and it changed their life forever. She'll see yours, Sandra. She'll fucking love it too. So make it for her. Make it for all the women that never saw the first video. And I remember I was doing a video about metabolism. Obviously, I was trying to help loads of people that wanted to lose fat. And someone commented and went, it's very apparent you watched Jeff Nippard's video before doing this. And I commented back and I went, do you think I'm a fucking idiot? His video got 7 million views. I said, for me to not watch it and not to take the 7 best things from his video and put it in mine, we'd be doing a disservice to all the people that need to lose weight. I go, if I didn't steal Jeff's 7 best concepts from that, I'd be a fucking knob. And I went, but don't say that I copied him because my video was funny and he is not. So, I was like having some problems with someone in the comments. And I think even the person replied going, fair point, fair point. Imagine you try to rip off a Christopher Nolan film and you use none of his tactics, or you tried to rip off Tarantino and use none of his cinematics or whatever. People will be like, oh, not a very good film. But if you're going to rip it off, take the best parts and put your own spin on it.
I love this because I think so many people get so caught up in their head around it has to be perfect. I have to have the ultimate plan. I got to nail it from the start. And I like how you just, hey man, take the brakes off, detach from it, borrow from others, remix, play, have fun, and try to go on this journey, just understanding that you can eat shit for a couple of years.
There's a funny one we have in our little group where probably 60% of the businesses I work with are fitness coaches or like sports therapists, whatever. And some people are convinced they have like a broken algorithm. They're like, oh, I might start a new account. I've got a broken algorithm. I'm like, wheel it in. What we're going to do, we're doing the Coke Zero video. Because everyone on the planet pretty much loves Coke Zero or Pepsi Max. Almost everyone on the planet is concerned that the full fat one is better for them than the sweetened one. Almost everyone on the planet thinks sweeteners are bad. And this is what I coined the dinner table genius. People in content can create a dinner table genius. And the dinner table genius is where someone's going to say something at the dinner table that isn't true. And this is the opportunity for someone to be like, right, so what's your mum's name? What's your mum's name?
Tracy.
Tracy sat opposite the table. And Tracy goes, don't have too many Coke Zeros, James. It'll give you cancer. And I'm going to go, Tracy, let me break this down for you. And your whole family around me are going to listen and go, your dad's going to be like, who's this? But Tracy, aspartame is what you're talking about, right? The sweetener, yeah. Oh, you've seen it was correlated with type 2 diabetes and whatnot. Correlation's not causation for a start, okay? Ice creams are correlated with drowning because most people swim on hot days. Most people have ice creams on hot days. Ice creams don't cause drowning. Drownings don't cause ice creams, all right? So we're going to put that to the side. Aspartame, as you said before, pretty sure it's broken down into 3 things: aspartic acid, phenylalanine, and methanol. Is that correct? Or did you know that red meat, eggs, and tomato juice contain way more than what you'd get from a can of diet soda? Now, I know what you're thinking. You're probably citing the study that was done in rodents back in 2014, and you should be worried about aspartame if you're a fucking rat. But are you a rat? No, didn't think so. So when we look at the health concerns that are done to a factor of 10, someone in my weight could probably consume about 800 cans a day, and that'd be fine. And don't you agree that having 800 cans of diet soda a day might be worse, more concern for my dentist than my doctor? So if you are going to have this argument, that's completely fine. But I need you to understand the science behind it. Having a few cans of this a day isn't just harmless. There are a plethora of studies that show that sweetened beverages can have a beneficial effect to sustainability and fat loss diets. And wouldn't you agree that having a little bit less fat would be good for all of those markers, including gut health, which you camper people seem to think is bad from your rat study? Thought so. Thank you very much for dinner. It was fucking lovely. But don't fucking talk to me about Coke Zero again. All right. That's a dinner table genius, right? So
we've all met one of those. Yeah.
We wheel in that video
Yeah.
and I'll say to someone in my group, go and make your version. Now, one lad called Doc, Michael Doherty, he didn't just make the video, he made it better. Better props, better pacing, post-it notes, mixing different things together till it looked like Coke Zero. And he went fucking viral. 60,000 followers on Instagram from one video. And I was like, motherfucker, he did it better. Now in our group, we all will say to each other, just do the Coke Zero video. Because some people have seen it, but they actually will watch, they'll see mine, but they'll watch Doc's and go, fucking hell, this one was better. So on mine, I stuck eggs to a whiteboard using duct tape. And some people were commenting like, how did you get the eggs to stick? I had to do the loop with the duct tape to get an egg to stick to the whiteboard. So then in our group, I'm like, hey guys, come together. Someone's got to do a better video than Doc. So we as a collective all are doing the same video. One guy's like, I'm gonna have so much fun. I go, why? He goes, I'm doing it in Dutch. I've never seen it in Dutch before. I'm like, brilliant. So we have this one dinner table genius concept video that I'm telling everyone to copy. I'm like, hey guys, do a better version of this. And it's all using so that people can see their algorithm isn't broken. Their content and concept just isn't good enough yet.
I love that. So you're having people live replicate something kind of indefinitely works no matter what.
So another one that I even put out to the group the other day was AG1, right, Athletic Greens. It's like $179 for 1 month's supply of greens powder. So if you have anything to sell, like we do creatine sticks at the moment for Newtonic, I'll give you some after this. And people go, oh, your creatine sticks, $40 for a month's supply is quite a lot. It's flavored. But yeah, it is. Do you know how much AG1 is? $170 fucking dollars. What's in it? So when I did an AG1 video, Gen Pop or pop culture, whatever you want to call it, it was no BS, it was takedown, it was pop culture. It was all those 3 things. I'd also seen other videos do really well about it, so I bought some. My thumbnail, I've got a green AG1 tash because I saw it perform well on someone else's thumbnail, and I wanted to use the word scam. So my video is Athletic Greens a scam? I then watched someone else's video who made a very good point. Adam McDonald, his name was. He said that it's a proprietary blend, so you're not allowed to know what's in it because it's their copyrighted blend. But the ingredients go in order of biggest to smallest. And the first ingredient is spirulina. And you need 8 grams of spirulina to be an effective dose. And the whole serving is only 11 grams. So the other 70 ingredients make up 3 grams. So none of the other ingredients would be an effective dose. So when you point that out to people and they're spending $170 a month on this fucking AG1. AG1 fanatics were like, no, it's good. It's a great probiotic. And then I went to another video to find out about prebiotics and saying that vegetables are way better prebiotics than a probiotic. So saying to people, if you take that $170 and spend it on vegetables, you would do much better than the greens powder. Now, AG1 in May this year reformulated with added studies. So I was like, hold on a second, guys. I can't go after AG1 because they sponsor Chris. Right. I'm no longer allowed to go after Chris's sponsors. One guy at one of his events was like, you really fucking annoyed us in the AG1 office from your video. I was like, oh, well, make a better product, in my honest personal opinion. So you got AG1. I go into my group. I'm like, who's doing the takedown? If your formula was so good that netted you hundreds of millions of dollars, why did you reformulate? So I'll put the ideas in there. I'll leave them to it. But then one lad did the video and he didn't buy it. He just put a screenshot of it up and did the video. I go, you did it wrong. Buy it, raise the stakes, have it in front of you. I want to see it. I want you to say, is this worth $179? I go, then I know straight away in the first few seconds, you went, you bought it, you invested, you got it. You can unbox it in your intro. You can give us B-roll. Putting an image up there is lazy. You're cutting corners. I go, do it again in a few weeks. I say, I need to have the emotional pain of you going, $99 for that, for this. Because then I can feel your pain. I can relate to you because I would have been someone that's been ripped off before. I would have that same emotive response. Putting a Google Images JPEG up there just isn't it, bro. I was like, I need you to raise stakes. I had a good idea for a video the other day. I ordered a balaclava online, had to wait 3 days to film it. So like, I just thought a balaclava, it was a video of me stealing an iPhone, then going back, giving the iPhone back and taking the new tonic. And I was like, for this to be funny, I need to have a balaclava and pull it over my head. So I was like, even though the balaclava was like $15, I was like, I need to raise the stakes of actually getting a balaclava because then people are going to go, fucking hell, he went to the effort to get that. Then I put an Adam Sullivan t-shirt on that I got from his new merch drop. So there was like a double thing there. Like I'm being a thief. I'm dressed like Adam, whatever. It was just then some people comment going, he supported his boy Adam whilst robbing someone. How fitting or whatever. So there are so many elements to that where you can have fun, you can copy people, you could do whatever. Some people call it skyscrapering. Sometimes you just got to come along, identify what's the biggest building, just build a bigger one. And then whilst you're there celebrating having the biggest one, someone else is in the shadows ready to build a bigger one. And all of you will just try and skyscraper each other for so much time. And then eventually you'll have a massive skyline full of big buildings. And it'd be great for everyone to see.
I love the dinner table expert challenge. Honestly, man, sincerely, like it's been a pleasure to sit here with you. I've admired your work for years, and it's hilarious. As we walked around the office, you had a lot of organic interactions, and you were like, "Dude, are you setting me up? Are you winding me up?" And there were organic reactions where someone double took you and was like, "Hang on a second, where do I know you from? I know your content. I follow you." You've helped inspire thousands and tens of thousands of young men to take action in their lives, and women as well. And just humbled to have sat here with you and had this conversation, man. I appreciate you being here.
Really, really enjoyed that.